What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty. Join my Discord if you want to chat and share your thoughts, the link is in the description. 5 Fate Chapter 101. Who dared to kill me? Shinzuki speeded up, the figure behind him became clearer, and the fog around him gradually thickened. Some people in the mist use the technique of mist hiding to confuse his sense of direction. Is his sense of direction so bad? What a joke, he is also a ninja anyhow. 5 minutes later, looking at the sacred Tachibana Yakura, dried persimmon ghost shark, Terumi Mei and Ching, and the large group of misty ninjas in front of him, Kyosuke began to doubt life. So, is my sense of direction really that bad? You can't run, Kyosuke Asakawa, Terumi Mei said. Kyosuke looked down at her dejectedly and said, Ming, I didn't expect you to chase me down, I thought you were a good person. Don't try to lie to me. You are Konoha, and I am a ninja in the mist. If I don't chase you, who will come? Looking at everyone's suspicious eyes, Terumi Ming frowned and said, Don't confuse the audience, I have nothing to do with you. Even if there are, you can't speak in front of so many people, idiot. She was secretly anxious. To tell the truth, she was a little complicated with Shinzuki. She said she was an opponent. Their relationship was a kind of saving each other's lives. They were friends. But who has seen such a situation where they attack each other and kill each other? This guy is too stupid, revealing that he still doesn't know about sneaking. She doesn't want to clear up the death, this is her heart, but she is a misty ninja and must act for the village. Sorry. Firming the faith in her heart, Terumi Mei looked cold, and when Kyosuke saw that she seemed to have made up his mind, he smiled and said, That's fine. He looked around, those misty ninjas with cracked eyes, wishing to eat their own flesh and blood, laughed and said, Konoha is particularly good, Kyosuke Asakawa. I beg you to die here, who can kill me? The roar was thunderous, shocking the hearts of more than 1,000 misty ninjas present. They couldn't think of it, but he was so arrogant that he was just a boy who was only 11 or 12 years old. Terumi Mei stared at the awkward young man in front of him in a daze, and couldn't believe it. This was Kyosuke Asakawa, who was laughing and joking with him and was not in good shape. Obviously you can run. It's just that so many people ran away. Katachi Tachibana Yakura took a deep breath and said in a deep voice, Kill him. This is a signal. The first to do it was the dried persimmon ghost shark. The huge and heavy sword shark muscle was cut and directly took away one of Kyosuke's arms. Seeing himself braving the flames, his arms reorganized and said, You are better than the watermelon puffer fish ghost. It's really an honor to hear Mr. Asakawa say that. The dried persimmon ghost shark is polite. If it weren't for the shark face to be too scary, you might think it was a polite big tall man. You killed my predecessor. I became the new 7 ninja swordsman. As a misty ninja, I naturally want to avenge my predecessors. Advertisement, he laughed, showing his fangs. Then give it a try. Do you dare to move me? Hearing this familiar voice, the shark muscle in the hands of the dried persimmon ghost shark, coupled with the chakra that it had just eaten, was instinctively afraid of it without wisdom. Obviously it still remembers the loss it suffered in Shinsuke's hands. Will I be afraid of you? The dried persimmon ghost froze for a moment. This was something he had never thought of. Of course. Solving escape demonstration of melting. A large amount of mucus flew out. Kyosuke waved his hand, and the flames rushed up. Before the mucus fell, he burned it clean, and the air exuded an unpleasant sour smell. As Terumi Mei and the dried persimmon ghost shark started their hands, another group of misty ninjas joined in. Encircle Chingjia. The more people there are, the stronger my destructive power. In the battle of Shinzuki, flames rushed out of him and set the grass around him alight. The flame burned, and then he was absorbed into his body. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi, opened his hand, raised one hand above his head, and a huge fireball like the sun appeared. Great Yan Jia Yan Di. Foggy Ninja looked at the huge fireball, and many people were frightened and fell to the ground. Kochi Tachibana Yakura's face was solemn, ghost shark. To understanding. The two sealed their seals at the same time, and Katachi Tachibana said, Blue, you guys retreat. Yes. Water escape, big burst of water rushing waves. Water escape, big burst of water rushing waves. Taiyanji Yandi was smashed down by Shinzuki, and the magic of the citrus orange and the dried persimmon ghost shark was launched, just like a tsunami. Boom, the flames collided with the water, and there was an explosion, deafening, like a mountain collapse and the ground cracked, and the earthquake trembled. The water evaporates, the airwave empties, blowing people out, and the steam adheres to the body and burns a group of people. Citrus Tachibana Yakura and dried persimmon ghost shark squatted halfway on the surface of the water. Chakra consumed a lot, and dried persimmon ghost shark said, It's really dangerous. This level of attack can really be done by a teenager. Advertisement. This kind of destructive power can already be comparable to S level or even forbidden spells, right? Kochi Tachibana said, Be careful, he won't die so easily. Just after speaking, Ao reminded him from behind, Master Yakura, be careful. A figure suddenly appeared behind Kochi Tachibana Yakura, and it was Kyosuke who strangled his neck and sank into the water. Gululu. Katachi Tachibana Yakura struggled violently, but Kyosuke locked his body with his hands and feet to prevent him from moving. Just at the moment, a half-human, half-shark monster appeared, moving in the water at a super-fast speed, and rushing towards the two of them. Chingjia saw clearly that it was the mermaid form after the fusion of the dried persimmon ghost shark and shark muscle. Immediately let go of Kochi Tachibana Yakura and kicked him behind his back, letting him stop the dried persimmon ghost shark for himself. The dried persimmon ghost shark also knew the importance and urgency, grabbed the sacred Tachibana Yakura and sent it to the surface of the water, and in his perception, Kyosuke started to attack some misty ninjas in the water with a super fast moving speed. Blood began to appear in the water. Going back into the water, swinging the tail behind him, charging forward, and said in the water, "Mr. Asakawa, you are not my opponent in the water." Kyosuke in the water rolled his eyes. How did he talk in the water? Grabbing a misty ninja, cutting his throat with Kumu, sliding against the surface of the water, and then breaking through the water, moving quickly. Water escape, the art of water dragon bomb. Water escape, water turbulence. Secret technique, the art of water iron cannon. As soon as he appeared on the surface of the water, attacks followed one after another, as if waiting for a long time. It's just that he won't confess himself so easily. Water escape, waterfront wall. Water escape, the art of water dragon bomb. Wind escape, the art of wind cutting. 1 defense, 2 attacks of ninjutsu. Dealing with misty ninjas is as easy as cutting melons and vegetables. This power was exchanged for the doubling of chakras. There are not enough chakras, we must fight quickly. He stretched out his hand and smeared a little blood from a corpse, and smeared it on the blood contract, psychic art. Chapter 102. Pit and Black Snake. A huge black snake appeared in the water, and the golden snake eyes were cold and merciless. Black Snake, everyone is an enemy. Stepping on the head of the black snake, Shinji said. The black snake opened its mouth and sprayed out a large amount of poisonous mist. Some people who did not pay attention subconsciously inhaled the poisonous mist, and suddenly died suddenly, and those who died could not die again. Poisonous. Retreat. Medical class, medical class. Who can escape from the wind? Click, click, the purple poisonous mist suddenly turned into icy debris and fell, and the air cooled down. It was the ninja of the Mizuki clan that made the move. Snakes love warmth and fear the cold, even the big black snake is no exception. Looking at those Mizutsuki ninjas. Their tails are like a giant pillar, and they fall down. Those Mizutsuki ninjas have a chance to escape. None, the body flew out like rags. The snake's tail swept away and brought up a large splash of water, among which were several ninjas. Kyosuke seized the opportunity, and the flame spewed out and hit the target. Ants. The black snake spit out 2 words coldly, twisted his body, and let go of a shark rushing out of the water. This shark is huge and its body is made up entirely of water. Shui done the art of shark bullets. The dried persimmon ghost shark was still in the half-human and half-shark state, in the art of the big shark bullet, and rushed towards Shinzuki quickly. Block snake. The black snake twisted its body, swept its tail, and broke through the art of shark bullets, hitting the dried persimmon ghost shark in it. Katachi Tachibana Yakura jumped onto the huge black snake's body, and rushed towards Kyosuke above the snake's head. Water escape, waterhorn art. Leaping high, the rushing water flew out, and Kyosuke opened his mouth to spit out flames to offset the attack. Water escape, the art of water dragon bomb. Terumi Ming's attack struck, but the black snake opened her mouth and swallowed it coldly. Hey, don't let me resist the attack, I just came to fight. There are small emotions. Yes, I see, this time it was my mistake. Shinzuki said. We retreat, otherwise it is estimated that Ren Julie will come later. If the tail beast runs away, we can't stand it. Mist has 3 tails and 6 tails. Although they are no better than Konoha has 9 tails, they are not what they can handle. The black snake's attack has already opened a way for him, and there is no need to stay here anymore. Advertisement, huh. Even if it's a tail beast, I won't lose, let them come. He said so, but the black snake himself knew the power of the tail beast. When he really fought, he might not have fought before, so he chose to retreat. Twisting his body, he walked quickly across the water. Water escape, water flow whip. A whip made of water flew in unconsciously and bound Kyosuke. What? The feet are firmly attached to the scales of the black snake with chakras, and he turned his head to look. The one who grabbed him with the whip was a handsome middle-aged man with closed eyes. He just listened to him softly. Grab as you. Master Shuiying. Katachi Tachibana Yakura and others saw the middle-aged yell respectfully. Shinji was shocked. He, a small person, would actually lead the 3 generations of Shuiying to do it himself. How much threat does he have to Wuyan village? Isn't it? 3 generations of Shuiying did it myself? It's a great honor for me as a little person. He braced his body and said. The black snake spit out a small water arrow, smashed the water whip, and said, he is very dangerous. If you don't tell me, I also know he is dangerous. This is the strongest combat power in Wuyan village. Shinzuki would not fight this guy face to face. It was purely seeking death. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Take me back to Longdi Cave, he whispered. It's not difficult to escape from the Wuyan village by using reverse spiritism. No, I want to fight him. Shinji, sister, you are a snake. Why do you want to fight with the strong human? Why don't you fight 10,000 snakes? The black snake said. The white snake fairy will not let us big snakes who know how to fight against each other. She is so kind. The main reason is that our battle will destroy the Longdi Cave, otherwise, she won't care about us. Well, he overestimated the sense of responsibility of the white snake immortal. Opposite, the 3 generations of Tsukage whispered softly. As a disciple of Oshimaru, Asakawa Kyosuke, you are probably one of the strongest among Konoha's younger generation. If you run away today, then one day, you will. It's our hazy heart trouble. Really, it's really flattered to get your evaluation. Advertisement. Kiyomizu was prepared to wait. The character of Black Snake made him have no choice but to bite the bullet. Asakawa Kyosuke, your value is very high. The 3 generations of Shuiying said so, and the seal in his hand was a little faster than that of the orange Tachibana Yakura. Shui done, the water is full of air. A large amount of water suddenly rushed out of the water, instantly forming a wave of more than 20 meters high, with a deafening roar. Looking at the posture, it seemed to destroy everything. It wasn't Kiyomizu who made the shot, but the black snake. It flicked its long tail, and its tail like a steel whip suddenly smashed the waves, and a crisp blast appeared, and the snake's tail still had more power, and it drew towards the 3 generations of water shadows. Wow! A tail drew on the surface of the water, setting off a large wave of water. But the 3 generations of water shadows disappeared. A sudden sense of crisis rushed into his heart, and Shinzuki dodged subconsciously, and was extremely lucky to dodge the sneak attack from the 3 generations of Shui Ying. If you don't speak martial ethics, you actually attacked a 12-year-old comrade of mine. Snap! Soon, the 3rd generation of Shui Ying kicked the target with a right whip leg. Shinzuki raised his arm and hurriedly resisted, and his whole body burst to pieces under the enormous force. Turned into flames and fled in all directions. Water escape water dragon whip. A ball of water gathered above his head, and in the next instant, a large number of small streams of water rushed out of the ball of water, like a celestial flower, but there were goals, those flames. A group of misty ninjas watched the 3 generations of Shui Ying's shots and marveled at the exquisiteness of the opponent's Shui Dun. The orange Tachibana Yakura, the dried persimmon ghost shark, and the blue all showed relaxed expressions. 3 generations of Shui Ying's shots won the battle. And Chirumi Ming's complexion, even if Kyosuke is undead, he is probably seriously injured, but this is also his fate. They, after all, are not ninjas from a village. The flame formed a human form in the air, and Kiyomizu flew temporarily in the air, and the black snake shook the 3 generations of water shadows off his head, trying to attack, but they were all avoided. Between them is the same as between flies and humans. It is difficult for humans to catch flies with their hands. The bodies of flies are small enough to react fast enough. Coupled with the speed of movement, it is difficult for humans to catch them with bare hands. So humans invented fly swatters and insecticides. This is how the black snake is now, but it doesn't have a fly swatter, and it's too much trouble to catch. Suddenly, it said, "It's clearing time, you take me first." Bang! Black snake disappeared. By Pit Ratio. Chapter 103, Unexpected Betrayal. Dead. Shinji thought to himself, I didn't expect that this fellow black snake would be so pitted, so he must go. Now it's fine, and he won't be able to get out of the pit. Forget it, I still think about how to write the suicide note, and, after that, it may be inhuman torture. He didn't believe that after the 3 generations of Suijin caught him, he would not ask for information about Konoha. After being drained of the use value, he would steady himself and tie him on the operating table for sliced research. I don't want it. Thinking of this, Kyosuke settled down and said, it looks like we need a desperate fight today. Flames flickered on him again, and the surrounding space was distorted by the scorching temperature. 3 generations of Shui Ying coughed suddenly, and said, how come it seems that you have nowhere to go? Just grab it with your hands, and there will be less pain. That won't work. Kyosuke shook his head, it's your turn to have more painful hands than death, so I won't be able to catch it. 3 generations of Shui Ying. Anyway, I am also Konoha's ninja, how can I surrender? I admire your will, if so, then, be prepared. 3 generations of Shui Ying rushed forward, and the water flowed into a sharp blade in the palm of his hand. Shinji opened his mouth, and a snake flew out and pounced directly at the throat of the 3 generations of Shui Ying. In order to protect himself, the 3 generations of Shui Ying had to cut off the poisonous snake with a sharp blade, but it also gave Shinzuki a respite, kicking him, with the help of the impetus, retreating far and widening the distance. It really doesn't suit me here, Mr. Oshimaru is really pitted, he said so. In that case, is that what I said in your heart for Kyosuke-kun? A hoarse and magnetic voice rang beside Kyosuke, which was the voice of Dashimaru. Kyosuke was overjoyed, Teacher Oshimaru. A big snake poked its head out of the water, opened its mouth, and the big snake pill walked out of it. Advertisement 3 generations of Shui Ying's face became serious. Oshimaru? Are you here? It seems that you value your disciple very much. At any rate, I am also his teacher, and I have to fulfill some obligations, not to mention that I revealed his whereabouts to you. Dashimaru said with a smile. Shinji, 3 generations of water shadows. The mist-hidden ninja. Shinzuki stiffened his body and asked Dashiwan, well, Teacher Dashiwan, you just said that you were the one who betrayed me. Of course. Dashimaru didn't quibble, and said with a smile, this infiltration mission is to train you. I thought you would be exposed in a few days and then escape back. Who knows that your kid will change your identity a day, even if it is you can escape even if you are found. Afterwards, you hide so well that I have to reveal your whereabouts to Wuyin and let them chase you. This task is to train Shinji, who knows that this kid is so powerful that Dashiwan can only make the best move. There are so many on the battlefield of the Blood Ninja. If I want to catch a lot of them, how can I need you to steal them from their village? Kyosuke-san, you did a good job. You are qualified for this mission. Believe it, after this time, you have also grown up. Dashiwan said with satisfaction. Shinji, read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. B*********D. Believe it or not, I will assassinate you in the future. You know, the kill rate in this world has always been high. Oshimaru, who didn't know that Kyosuke had thoughts of treacherous indiscretion, was very satisfied with his action this time. You performed well, now you can retreat. Seeing that Dashimaru didn't put herself in his eyes, The 3 generations of Shuiying frowned and said, Oshimaru, since you rushed in single-handedly, don't even think about running away. You can't catch me, so you can't fight with me forever because of your sickly body. Da Shiwan sneered. His words changed the expression of the 3 generations of Shui Ying, not only him, but also the close-up Mandarin Orange Yakura, dried persimmon ghost shark, Terumi Mei and others. Master Shuiying. Your body. Impossible. Lord Shuiying is still so healthy. Impossible. That's right. Master Shuiying will lead us to fight forever. Katachi Tachibana Yakura knows that at this time it is necessary to stabilize people's hearts. He is one of the few insiders about the 3 generations of Tsukuge's body. He said, these are the tricks of the Konoha ninja, the body of Tsukuge is very healthy. The other party wants to make you suspicious. Advertisement. Da Shiwan licked his tongue and said, do you know that your body is not deceiving? I still have a little research in this aspect. The 3 generations of Shui Ying have already lived up to the power of the past, otherwise, it is impossible for me to retreat without any harm on the battlefield, let alone run out personally, trying to catch Shinzuki-kun. Because your body can't hold it anymore, you don't dare to see more variables, and there are so many variables that Kyosuke-san can make, which might disrupt your arrangement before you died, so you came in person, am I right? Those cold and ruthless snake pupils seemed to penetrate people's hearts, making the 3 generations of Shui Ying feel irritable, and said with a sneer. Aw snake pill, deceptive words to confuse the crowd. 3 generations of Hokage taught you such a good apprentice? Is it really for him? Shame. Dashimaru was unmoved, just smiled and said, it has nothing to do with him. I just need to know that your physical condition is very bad. 3 generations of Shui Ying, even if they haven't died on the battlefield, you will die soon. In the hospital bed. He smiled, with mocking eyes in his eyes, making the 3 generations of Shui Ying more and more annoyed, but he was helpless, because the other party was telling the truth, and he could not last long. The 3 generations of Shui Ying didn't say anything, and began to seal, and the speed was very fast, the same is true for Dashimaru. Shui Dun Shuishin and counterattack, rumbling. The surrounding water became restless, and a big wave was set off around the Oshimaru, surrounding him and the Oshimaru, in a closed posture, trapping the master and apprentice in it. Is it an upgraded version of the technique of the water prison? But this is too underestimating me. Earth escape multiple earth flow walls. Boom boom boom. The towering stone wall rises and surrounds him and Kyosuke. Stop the waves. Dashimaru chuckled lightly, jumped onto the wall of multiple earth currents, opened his mouth wide, and spit out a large number of small snakes that were no longer than the arm length, densely packed. 10,000 snakes. These snakes dived into the bottom of the water, avoided the waves, and then surfaced, opening their mouths one by one, with a sharp blade sticking out of their mouths, and stabbing them towards the Misty Ninja. Suddenly, the Mist Ninja was chaotic, and Oshimaru had no thoughts left, and said with a smile. 3 generations of water shadows, at the end of life, I don't know what choice you will make. It's a pity that you can't kill it yourself. I'm dying of you. A big snake rose from behind him, opened his mouth and swallowed him in Kyosuke's stomach, and disappeared with a bang. But, cough cough cough. 3 generations of Shui Ying coughed violently, and suddenly spouted a mouthful of warm blood. Master Shuiying. No, Lord Shuiying, Chapter 104, promoted to Shinobu. After a long absence, Kyosuke finally returned to Konoha camp. Looking at Dashimaru speechlessly, the other party smiled and said, don't look at me like that. You did a good job. This infiltration mission is to allow you to grow. Now it seems that you are doing a good job. Kyosuke-san, human growth. It is to defeat the immature self in the past. Good guy, if I didn't know that you were Oshimaru, I thought it was Diablo standing in front of me. Well, just before speaking, Diablo died again. To be honest, Mr. Oshimaru, you betray me like this, and it makes me really uncomfortable. It's not uncomfortable to be betrayed by a trusted person. It is because of your trust that I can give you a trial, Shinzuki-kun. After this time, your name will be widely circulated. Do you know how Wuyin calls you? What? Kyosuke asked curiously. He wanted to know what Wuyin had said about him. Arsonists. Dashimaru smiled and said, this is Wuyin's belittling of you. There are different opinions in other places. Tell me the story. Mr. Yan, Kyosuke's eyes lit up, and this title was much better than that of arsonist. The title for the ninja is the recognition by the enemy that you are strong enough. Just like the 3 ninjas of Oshimaru, Jiraiya, and Tsunade, the Yellow Flash of Heifumazumon, and the Doctor of Ninjutsu of the 3 generations of Naruto. It is the recognition of their strength. Kyosuke is the first person to receive the title in Konoha's new generation. His strength is worthy of this title, and he said, it's really embarrassing to have a title or something. After this time, you can also be promoted to Shinobu, Dashiwan said suddenly. Shinzuki wondered, but doesn't Shangren need to match the corresponding knowledge? It's true, but just killing the 7 ninja swords is enough. You didn't get promoted in Konoha last time because of this consideration, but this time you sneaked into the mission, you proved your ability, believe it. Sarutobi teacher won't be too difficult for you either. In other words, can I go through the back door? Advertisement. That's right, of course, if you want to be promoted normally, I won't hinder you. Having the knowledge of Shangren is also good for you. Anyway, you have to learn later. Forget it, I still choose to go through the back door, I don't want to go to the exam. Shinzuki said. You go back to Konoha. Your commission is ready. The 3rd generation of Shuiying will not have much movement for the time being. His body is not good. Before the 4th generation of Shuiying is on the throne, he can't do another one. It's a large-scale battle. Although Dashawan is not a medical ninja, many experiments have been done, and there have been certain studies in this area. At that time, the 3 generations of Shui Ying were strong in the outside world. Unexpectedly, they may be belching in the last few months. There is a lot of fog hidden and broken, and now the 3 generations of Shui Ying need to suppress the group of unruly ninjas. There is not much energy in the battlefield. And he just needs to wait and consume the 3 generations of Water Shadow. The 4 generations of Shui Ying are in the high ranks. It is estimated that it is a mess, and when that time, Konoha will be able to withdraw his hand. With such a bit of crooked melons and dates, Dashawan had no idea of really heading to Wuyin. Rabbits will bite people if they are anxious, let alone the fog? Push the front to the water country and maintain the status quo. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. As long as they wait for reinforcements, the army will crush the territory, and the fog will not surrender. Yes. Back in the camp, they found that Asma and Hong were checking their equipment. They were overjoyed when they saw him back. Hong said happily, "Kyosuke, you are finally back. It's great that you are fine." These days, Xingjie went out to carry out infiltration operations, but they were very worried. After all, it was a hidden mist village. Infiltrating a village to collect information is not a simple task. Ha ha ha. Who am I? How could something happen? Don't worry, Red. By the way, I'm going back to Konoha and I'm promoted to Shinobu. Promoted to Shinobu? Asma was taken aback for a moment, and said puzzledly, "As far as I know you, your knowledge is not enough to become a Shinobu." Xingjie has a few kilograms and he knows very well that although his strength is not as good as his, both of them have the same amount of knowledge. There is still a long way to go to become Shangnin. Yes, Mr. Oshimaru said that my strength is enough. This time, I will open a back door for me. Cut. Open the back door. Do I think you have that qualification? Asma said sourly. Yo, the sourness is coming out, Shinzuki said with a smile. Advertisement, don't think that you are a great shinobu, I will catch up sooner or later. Yes, you can add your knowledge to Shangren first. Kyosuke said with a smile, find a place to lie down, and said, these days I'm exhausted, I have to take a good rest. Okay. Saying that he lay down, snoring like thunder in a few moments. Hong and Asma looked at each other and laughed, but they didn't bother him. The infiltration mission is not so easy to do. If you are not careful, you may expose your trail and be found by the enemy. It's better to die. In this environment for a long time, Xingjie is very tiring. I slept until the next morning, rubbed my eyes, and Asma and Hong slept face to face next to him. He was like a light bulb, the shiny one. I saw this scene in the morning, and the whole person was very upset. But they didn't bother them, and went out to wash. After having breakfast, after receiving relevant information from Dashimaru, he returned to Konoha. On the way, there were several shinin who returned to Konoha together. They also returned to Konoha to report the task, and the group returned safely. Naruto building. After reading the report, Sarutobi Hizumi took out a letter of commission and said with a smile. Now is the time of war, everything is simple, only this is for you, Kyosuke Asakawa, from now on, you are a qualified Konoha. I've endured, and I hope to continue to work hard to become Konoha's pillars. Yes, Master Naruto. Shinzuki solemnly accepted the letter of commission, which read. Special approval. Asakawa Kyosuke is promoted to Konoha Shinobu. This man is up to the standard in strength and physique, and his military exploits are outstanding. I hereby agree. The signature is, Sarutobi Hiji. Thank you very much. Kyosuke, from now on you are Konoha Kaminen, you have to remember the will of fire. Yes, where Konoha dances, the fire is endless. The fire will continue to illuminate the village and let the new leaves germinate. I always keep this in mind. Sarutobi Hizen nodded in satisfaction. At this time, the door was knocked, and the Hao Feng Shui gate, which was going to the country to support, entered, and his handsome face was tired and sad. Xingjie had bad guesses in his mind. Chapter 105, Sacrifice with Soil. Walking out of the Hokage office, Kyosuke found that Kakashi and Lin were both standing outside, unable to fight, especially Kakashi, whose left eye was blocked by a forehead guard, and only one right eye was exposed. Something happened to bring soil. He sighed in his heart, revealed a somewhat unnatural smile, and said, it's been a long time, Lin, Kakashi. Hello, Shinzuki. Lin Chang greeted Shinzuki with spirit. Yeah. Kakashi nodded coldly, he seemed to be colder than before. Shinzuki said, Kakashi, what's the matter with your eyes? You can't just show one right eye when you're cool. Raising their eyes, Kakashi and Lin became sad. Kakashi stroked his eyes and said, Kyosuke, take the soil, sacrifice. That was the Shangren gift that brought the soil to him before parting, written in round eyes. After a short silence, Kyosuke said, this joke is not funny at all, Lin, call out Dato. I just became Shangnin, but I want him to give me a gift. With tears in her eyes, Lin said, Shinzuki, I didn't make any jokes. To save me and Kakashi, I sacrificed. It was torture for Lin to watch her best friend die with her own eyes. She died with the soil and didn't even have a grave. Xingjie's face is calm, but his heart is really upset. The plot has already begun. It is estimated that Dato has been rescued by Uchiha Madara and will become one of the tool men later. In order to break the seal of the two dutiful sons, Itsuki Kagaya used his own wool to condense Kazuki. After a long struggle to save his mother, Kurozu found Toolman No. 1 Uchiha Madara, crippled him, and then let Madara awaken the eyes of Samsara. When Madara awakened the reincarnation eyes, his body was old and there was not much time, so he transplanted his eyes to the young Nagato, and found the second person with soil as a tool. The crippled soil carried out the spotted plan. After crippling Nagato, he used him as a toolman number 3 to form a Matryoshka. G. Advertisement. The things that Taitu Miku does are really not white. The love and the personality of the Uchiha clan, the writing wheel eyes, and the flickering of Uchiha Madara. The blackening is certain, and the things done can be said people spurned, at least for now, can still be saved. Seeing the bored expression on Kyosuke's face, Kakashi and Lin thought he had become irritable when he heard the news of Tuotu's death. Lin wiped away tears and comforted. Kyosuke, don't be sad, take to him. While talking, I felt sad and cried. Shinji handed over the tissue and said, I see, Kakashi, where's the corpse with soil? He didn't bring it back. Half of his body was held down by a boulder, and he couldn't save him. After he gave me his riding wheel, the people in Yanyan village destroyed the cave with ninjutsu, and we didn't have time to take it away, Kakashi hit the wall with a punch. Just give me some more time, and you can. After losing the soil, he understood how important companions are. I'm going to the land of Earth. Kyosuke was cold, preparing to enter Hokage's office. Lin hurriedly grabbed him and said, Shinji, don't be impulsive. It won't help to go to the land of the Earth now. There's still war there. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. They can't kill me. Kyosuke insisted on going in, pushed the door directly, and said, Master Hokage, I'm going to the battlefield of the land of the Earth. Sarutobi, who was discussing the war with Watergate, frowned and asked, Why? You performed well on the battlefield of the nation of water. If you move the battlefield, it will be bad for you and your companions. Shinzuki said, I'm going to bring my friend back. You can't tell them directly about the fact that Shido did not die in Uchiha Madara. After all, who would believe that a person who was killed by the original Naruto Senjujuma himself is still alive? How did you know? Why would you know? If it is difficult to explain, it is easy to be discovered by some people in the village. Even Dashawan will not be able to protect him at that time, and perhaps the first person to come and dissect him will be Dashawan. He would not take the risk personally, but chose to use a little clue to present the facts before their eyes. Hearing him say this, Watergate felt a pain. It was not easy to lose his subordinates. He said in a warm voice. Kyosuke, I know that you have a good relationship with Tuotu, but you can't come back from death. Don't be impulsive. War is not a child's play. I believe he will not die. He will become Hokage in the future. I believe that his life is hard enough. Even if he is dead, I will bring him back. Konoha's hero can't be dead, right? Hokage grown-ups? Advertisement. Sarutobi Risen smoked a cigarette and said, There is still war at the Shinwubi Bridge. Are you sure you want to take the risk? To be honest, his disciple taught him such a person who cares about his peers. He is very pleased, but the ninja takes the task as the ultimate goal, and cannot affect the overall situation for some unimportant things at present. Yes, I am not worried about the ninjas in Iwakura village. He is so confident that most of Yanyan village is dominated by soil escape, and there are very few people who can escape from water. If this is the case, then I will let you go. Seeing Kyosuke's firm eyes, Sarutobi Hizen decided to let him mess around once. Young people, there is always a willful time. Shuiman, you lead your 2 team members and Shinji to go to the Shinwubi Bridge together. I will give you 2 days and I wish you good luck. Watergate lifted his spirits, bowed to Sarutobi Risen, and said solemnly, Thank you, Lord Naruto. Well, let's talk about the rest. Let's go first. Yes. Thank you, Hokage-sama, Shinji said. Thank you, Naruto-sama. Kakashi and Lin also bowed deeply. A group of people left the Hokage building, and Shuiman said, It shouldn't be too late, there is still the imprint of Flying Thunder God left by Shinwubi Bridge, grab my arm. He stretched out his arms, and the 3 of Kyosuke grabbed them, brushed them, and the 4 disappeared into Konoha. Soon after, Watergate appeared pale near the Shinwubi Bridge, and his face was a little pale. Using Flying Thunder God at such a long distance was still a waste of his chakra. He is not in the state of reincarnating from the filthy soil. He has infinite chakra and half. Only the help of 9 tails. Is this the Shinsubi Bridge? Looking at the bombed bridge in the distance, here is the place where Watergate is famous. In some places, the body of the ninja Yaoyanian can be seen. M's Watergate, are you okay? Lin asked Watergate worriedly. Watergate shook his head and said, It's okay. The distance is too far. Chakra consumes a lot. Kakashi, please lead the way. Yes. Kakashi did not forget that place anyway, and acted as a guide, leading the 3 of them to the buried place with soil. Chapter 106. Didn't you die with the soil? Coming to a collapsed cave, Kakashi said, It's here, the soil is buried here. He is downcast. If he can, he hopes that idiot will fight with himself for a lifetime, and he doesn't want him to push himself away at the end. Obviously. The person who should die is a rubbish that I don't cherish with my companions. Lin wept silently, and Watergate was silent. Shinzuki said, What are you still doing? Dig, Teacher Watergate, please be on your guard. Watergate nodded, leaving here, there will still be Yanyan ninjas around, although they are rare, they will still be affected. Take out the shovel from the seal scroll. For some precautions, Shinji brought the shovel with him. Kakashi and Lin did not ask him where the shovel came from, and took it from him. The technique of multiple shadow clones. Dozens of shadow avatars appeared, and Shinji just said, Give me a dig. The shadow avatars are divided into labor and cooperation. Some people are responsible for digging, some are responsible for transporting soil, and some are responsible for moving rocks. When they encounter hard rocks, Shinji directly blows them up with their fists. It can be called violent demolition. It should be right here, right around here. It took so many shadow clones for a long time to finally clear out the cave. Kakashi went crazy looking for the soil that may have been inhuman, but found nothing. Where is the soil? Kakashi and Lin searched like crazy, but found nothing. They couldn't find the corpse with soil, but according to that situation, it is impossible for the corpse with soil to be taken away by Yanin's people. Even if they are superb, they wouldn't do that. After all, they didn't know that there was a Uchiha clan who had opened a writing wheel. If they knew it, it would be another matter. In that battle, the people who saw the soil with eyes open were dead. It was a good thing other Iwakura ninjas did. They buried them. Even if the corpse with soil was smashed, it should be left behind. Yes, it will not disappear. Kakashi, Lin, come here. I found 2 bodies. Kyosuke asked them to come over and saw 2 ninjas wearing ninja costumes from Iwakura village. But their bodies had been smashed into a humanoid form, and it was disgusting to see, but it was confirmed that they were the 2 rocks who had taken Lin away. Hidden ninja. Advertisement, it's them, the ninja who took Lin. Kakashi recognized it at a glance and said. It is reasonable to say that the soil should not be far away, but it can't be found. Perhaps we have found it. Several shadow avatars lifted a large rock and found a tattered arm and thigh from under the rock. The blue cloth strips on the arm were the clothes that they were wearing before bringing the soil. Yeah. Lin looked at the arms and legs, her face turned pale suddenly, tears rolled. Kakashi hit the stone with a fist, tears, and couldn't help falling down. Shinzuki was silent for a while and said, the soil is not dead. The 2 stopped crying, looked at him blankly, and heard him say, look here. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. He pointed to the soil near his arms and legs and said, there is not much blood, which means that there is no major bleeding, but the legs and arms with soil are gone. According to this situation, it is impossible to have only such a small amount of blood. Blood. A clever person in Kakashido immediately understood that Lin is a medical ninja and also knows this knowledge, and said, indeed, and the soil is gone. Such a big person, still being crushed by a stone, cannot save himself, which means that someone has taken him away. As for who it is unclear. Shinji had touched the soil and said, the soil here is looser than the soil in other places. Some people use soil to escape. If you want to transfer the soil as big as a person or be buried, this person must be very proficient in soil escape. Lin, call for Teacher Watergate to bring the soil to life with great hope. After hearing this, their eyes glowed. Lin immediately went out to look for Watergate, while Kyosuke looked at the soiled arms and thighs and remained silent. Heiju and Baiju should be transferred to take the soil. The 2 guys are proficient in soil escape. It is not a difficult task to take the soil. They did not take his arms and legs. I think it is because they have lost the possibility of connecting. It's smashed like this, it's useless if Tsunade comes, it can be said to be useless. He didn't even think about handling it. After all, in this situation, it was impossible for anyone to come. Highway, who had always been cautious, didn't care about it. He didn't think that someone would spend great efforts to find a corpse with soil, and his arms and legs would not be dealt with. After a long time, it will automatically decay and become the nourishment of nature. Who would have thought that someone who had read the script would show up? Advertisement. This was the only flaw he exposed, and it was well grasped by Shinzuki. Soon after, Watergate came and saw that arm and leg, a touch of sadness flashed in his eyes, and then asked, Kyosuke, did you say that the soil was not dead? Yes. Watergate reanalyzed the situation. Watergate thought silently for a while, checked the location, and said, indeed, some people here used soil escape, that is to say, the soil was transferred away, no he was severely bleeding. Someone treated him. You see, the incision at the broken arm with soil is very neat, so it means that it was cut off after it was determined that it was not saved. Right here, he was treated with medical ninjutsu. It was urgently dealt with. In addition to his name, Watergate is an out-and-out genius in other respects. He looked at the scene and analyzed more things and said, it seems that Kiyomizu is right. Someone rescued the soil. He laughed in relief, so it would be great if he didn't die with the soil. Kakashi and Lin showed hope in their eyes, and they didn't die. This is good news for them. Kakashi, next is your time to perform. Okay, psychic art, 8 ninja dogs. Kakashi, who knew what Kyosuke meant, immediately used spiritism to summon his 8 ninja dogs. Help me find some soil. The 8 ninja dog approached the severed hand and leg, smelled it, and left in all directions. Lin folded her arms and legs and asked, Ms. Watergate, who do you think saved the soil? Watergate was also not clear, and said, I don't know, but the worst case may be people from Yanyan village. No, there are worse cases. If it is from Yanyan village, even if I kill into Yanyan village, I will save the soil back, Kakashi said. Kyosuke looked at him and said, let's go together. After speaking, he took out a ration pill, bit it a few times, swallowed it in his abdomen, and began to recover chakra. If you really find the soil, you may have to face Uchiha Madara. Chapter 107. The Watergate of Versailles. Soon, the 8 ninja dogs came back, and Parker said, we found it. Everyone was overjoyed and immediately followed Parker. Kakashi, get ready for battle. I don't think the person who takes the dirt away should be a good person. Kyosuke vaccinated them in advance. The riding wheel eyes of the Uchiha clan are very precious, even Konoha people covet those eyes, let alone ninjas from other villages. Kakashi stroked his eyes. After possessing the Shiluanin, he knew how powerful this eye was. Kyosuke was right. The person who took the dirt away must have no peace of mind. Watergate said, Kyosuke is right. If there are enemies, I will take the lead. Kakashi and Kyosuke protect Lin. Okay. They followed Parker and they trudged for a while before entering the forest. Be careful, this is already the territory of Kaonin Village, and there may be people from Kaonin Village. The Battle of Shinmubi Bridge broke out in the Country of Grass, and there were people from Kushinen Village in that battle. The ninjas of Kushinen Village are good at studying ninjutsu in other countries, and they are able to use diplomatic means to deal with the powers, and can grasp the current trends early to protect themselves. At the same time, he is also good at cracking the ninjutsu of other ninja villages. To put it bluntly, this group of guys is just a grassroots. In the war, where the advantage is greater, they will turn to the other side and help the strong side to bully the weak. This time Konoha was besieged by several big shinobu villages. This battlefield won little cards, so this group of guys helped the land of the country attack Konoha, who came up with a yellow flash, and one person killed a group. The ninja of Yanyan village became famous in the first battle. It can be said that Mizumon's reputation is based on the corpses of Iwagaku ninjas and a small number of ninjas in Kushinen village. I don't worry about them. Shinzuki pouted, and a bunch of grass was burnt. Watergate said. Kaisuke, I know your strength is very strong, but don't underestimate the ninjas of Kushinen village. There are strong ones among them. Ms. Watergate, was the Kushinori that you met in the war very strong? Well, because Thunder God is moving fast, they have no chance to attack me, so I don't know, Watergate said embarrassedly. Well, Fei Lei Shen is invincible. As they approached, Uchiha Madara and the group hiding in the underground nearby noticed their arrival. Advertisement. A Baiju suddenly leaned out of the cave wall and said, someone is coming. Wearing a blue robe and gray hair, Uchiha Madara opened his eyes, and on one side of the wooden bed, his body was slumbered with dirt patched by most of his white limbs. Madara Uchiha said solemnly, who is it? The yellow flash of Konoha, the famous Yanjun who played on the battlefield of Wuyan village, and the two friends who brought the soil. Bai Weijin reported. How did they come? Madara Uchiha was puzzled. In the case of soil, it would basically be judged to be death, and the body would not be exhumed. That kind of situation would no longer be sought, but how did this group of people find it? Of here? I don't know, how many dogs they brought. Trash. Uchiha Madara cursed, stood up with a sickle and said, taking soil is an important chess piece. They can't be found by them. I will delay them. Oh, are you going to fight? So excited. A white circle of eyes fell in front of him, and his body slammed apart, like a flower bud blooming, wrapping Uchiha Madara in it. It's really old. If it was before, I would never use this kind of thing. Uchiha Madara also sighed that the years are not forgiving. If he is 20 years younger, he will not use external force. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. His head was exposed, and there was only one hole in the circled eye. There was the right eye, and his eye had been transplanted to Nagato. Now there is only one left eye that is the eye of the writing wheel. Yellow flash. The ninja who is famous for relying on that guy's Flying Thunder God. This guy often studies some troublesome ninjutsu. Sitting on the chair cursingly, behind the open-mouthed golem. The two Baiju avatars picked up the dirt and ran away, taking advantage of this guy to fall asleep, just to move away. Outer golems cannot be exposed, there is not enough time. He was quite a headache, and he couldn't expose the golem and the soil and himself. If you give him another half a year to make arrangements, you can make Tai Tu obediently become his own horse, but unfortunately, time waits for no one. I didn't expect Watergate to bring people here. Fortunately, in order to prevent the escape with soil, he blocked the door with a huge stone. There is no soil escape technique of Baiju's level, so he can only find a way to break the stone. In order to crush this stone, generally speaking, one must be a ninja with a particularly powerful force. It is obvious that Watergate does not possess that power. Wearing Baiju's code is purely just in case. Use the soil to escape the stone wall to hide the golem of the outer road, leaving only a gap the size of the transmission chakra pipeline. The outer golem plays a key role in his plan, and there must be no accidents. Advertisement, they have reached the door. Baijudao. Uchiha Madara closed his eyes and said, you become soiled, disguised as a corpse. Huh? Okay. Baiju slowly became soiled, losing his right hand and feet, half of his face was disfigured, his body was covered with bandages, his eyes closed, and he lay in it. There is no heartbeat, no breathing, no pulse, cold body, no difference from death. Seeing this, Uchiha Madara hides, at the same time. Parker sniffed the air and said, it's right here. The smell of soil is the strongest here. Our work is over, goodbye. With that, disappeared. Looking at such a big stone in front of him, Kiyomizu said, why, I blew up here. Watergate wiped his cold sweat and said, no, you will cause the cave to collapse and damage the dirt, so leave it to me. He closed his eyes, and when he opened them again, there was a touch of orange eyeshadow around his eyes, and his blue eyes turned into yellow pupils. Is this the magic of Miaomu Mountain? Shinzuki asked. Watergate nodded and said, I have studied immortality in Miaomu Mountain, but I'm not very good at it. Shinzuki said silently, Mr. Watergate, immortality, not everyone can learn it, and you can use immortality in less than half a minute if you gather natural energy. If you are not good at it, you will be beaten to death if you pass it on. Some people say they are not good at immortality, but they can actually activate the immortal mode in seconds. Are you the Watergate of Versailles? Watergate smiled bitterly and said, get out of the way, I'll smash this stone. Several people and the dog retreated to one side. A spiral pill lit up in the palm of Watergate, continuously injecting Shanshu chakra, and then hit the stone. Spiral Pill Flash Spiral 3 Segments, Chapter 108, Old Spot. Boom. With a loud bang, the huge stone wall was broken by the three-stage spiral pill and flashing spiral of the Watergate. Don't you complain about the strange name of Teacher Watergate's tricks? Shinzuki said. It can be seen that Watergate is not a perfect person either, at least, he can't name him. That parallel world called Naruto or dried bamboo shoots must have been obtained by Mizumon without referring to Jiraiya's novel. We are used to it. On missions with Watergate, he often hears him yelling out strange moves, and he bursts the table for the second time. What is this? Mizumon took a breath, and under Shanshu's perception, the chakra hidden in the outer golem and the hidden Uchiha Madara surprised him. Bring soil. Bring soil. Kakashi and Lin rushed to see the fake soil on the hospital bed. At first they were overjoyed to see him alive, but when they met his cold corpse, it was like falling into an ice cave. Take the soil. Dead. Lin said trembling. Shinzuki frowned and walked, feeling the pulse with the soil, and found that there was really no, and he was completely dead. But, bringing the soil will never die. Uchiha Madara needs to bring the soil to complete his plan. Even if Chakra, who has an out-of-door golem, prolongs his life, it is estimated that his life will not be extended. Soil is likely to be his last choice. It is estimated that he was observing the Uchiha clan a long time ago, looking for candidates among them. Later, Madara Uchiha chose the soil, because the character of the soil is very suitable for flickering and control. If you change to the Uchiha clan with a particularly good head, it may not be so convenient. A high-quality tool person like the soil is playing. Lanterns are hard to find. Uchiha Madara will not let him die, otherwise, he will not be rescued. In summary, this is fake. Pulling out kunai, and plunged into the heart of, bring the dirt, Lin and Kakashi were shocked. Kakashi was furious. What are you doing, Kyosuke? This is insulting the corpse with soil, how could he do this? Shut up, this is fake. Look clearly. Sure enough, the soiled corpse slowly turned into a white humanoid. What is this? Advertisement, who knows? Teacher Watergate, what have you been watching since the beginning? Shinzuki asked. There. Someone. Watergate stopped in front of them and said, come out, I have already sensed your existence. It seems that Konoha is not without capable people for so many years. Uchiha Madara walked out with a sickle, wearing a white shirt, and said. As soon as he appeared, the terrible murderous aura escaped, making the Watergate look like an enemy. Who are you? Uchiha's undead. Uchiha Madara didn't reveal the meaning of his name. He looked at Kyosuke with one eye and said, that guy's disguise is so perfect, how did you see it? He was curious how a little kid could see Baiju's disguise. Shinji said, if you really save the soil, then you will not let him, because you must have your purpose in saving him. If you die, then it is wasted effort. There is no need to put the body with the soil there. Interestingly, does it seem that I made an extra effort? Uchiha Madara feels that he is old. If he was young, he would definitely not do it. Is he scrupulous when he is old? Time is not forgiving. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi, first name. Asakawa Kyosuke. I remember you. The old man is still as domineering as he used to be, and even if he is late and fades soon, he still looks at the world. He swept across the crowd with a riding wheel and said, I was found here by you, it looks like I am really old. Watergate asked. Who are you anyway? Who knows? Uchiha Madara said unclearly. He sealed his hands and opened his mouth. Fire escape extinguished the fire, mirror flames. Kyosuke rushed out and threw a punch. 2 seas of fire instantly appeared in this wide cave, illuminating the gloomy cave. The flame went out. Uchiha raised his eyebrows. It seems that you are called Yan-kun with such a strength. If you are from the Uchiha clan, it would be fine. If it is the Uchiha clan, maybe he will become a more suitable pawn than with soil. Advertisement, use me as a pawn? You must use soil as a pawn like this. Smart boy, I like you more and more. A trident kunai flew up, raised the sickle in his hand and knocked it out. The Watergate suddenly appeared in the air, grabbed kunai, and threw it out again. Flying Thunder God. His face was gloomy, and this technique reminded him of bad memories. The only riding wheel eye catches the movement of the Watergate. Even if he is old, he can still make a match, but he still has to be careful not to cut his chakra pipe. In order to prolong his life, the chakra of the outer golem needs to be continuously supplied day and night. Once it is cut off, he will definitely die. This is his death door. He is weaker than when he was young. Shinji and Kakashi rushed forward. Kakashi opened his forehead protection, revealing the Urgoyu riding wheel eye. A dazzling thunderlight flashed on the palm of his hand, and he made a harsh sound. Chidori. The whole person on Shinji's side turned into a ball of flames, which might explode at any time. He leapt high, and a big hand of flame appeared, and suddenly photographed. The terrible high temperature distorted the surrounding space, as if it could burn everything. Uchiha Madara jumped away, and Kakashi rushed towards him. The riding wheel eye gave him extremely strong dynamic vision, allowing him to clearly capture the target at the high speed under the blessing of Chidori, and Chidori plunged into Uchiha Madara's heart. Spiral Pill. Mizumon appeared behind Uchiha Madara. Helix Maru used it, and fought Kakashi back and forth. And above his head is Kiyomizu, holding a flame spear in his hand. The dead end of a 3-person siege. Don't underestimate me. The blue skeleton appeared beside Uchiha Madara, protecting him in it, and chakra burst out suddenly, sending the Kyosuke trio out. Mizumon stepped away and caught Kakashi and Kyosuke. I'll go, in this case. How to fight? That's Susanoo. Uchiha Madara's Susanoo. Kaleidoscope riding wheel eyes are needed to open the Suzuo Neng, but after opening, even if you lose your eyes, you can use it, but it will consume a lot of money. For example, Shisui's single eye opens Suzuo. After Uchiha Madara's resurrection, Suzu can be used even without eyes. The kaleidoscope riding wheel eye is just a key to unlock the ability of Suzuo. Once it is opened, such harsh conditions are no longer required. Faced with such a situation as Suzuo Nenkai, Kyosuke felt extremely tricky for a while. Chapter 109. Uncle Ban raised the table. This is. Watergate looked at Suzuo and felt a headache. This kind of technique shouldn't be. Uchiha Madara gasped, and Suzuo fainted and said, I'm really old, I wouldn't have used this kind of technique to deal with you. His current physical condition is extremely poor. He has lost his original reincarnation eye, coupled with old age and frailty, and various factors. It will be uncomfortable for him to be able to live for a while. He may not live long. Can it only be used as that backup plan available? The current situation is extremely unfavorable to him. Especially the blonde young man on the opposite side can use Thor's high mobility skills. Damn it, I don't know how to develop ninjutsu all day long, I just know how to play tricks. I scolded Qianshojian over and over again in my heart, and came here to harm myself when I died. You deserve it. You were Uchiha Madara, right? Watergate said. Uncle Madara raised his eyebrows and admitted openly, and said, yes, I am Madara Uchiha. Kakashi was shocked. It was a big figure in the history books who was killed by the first generation of Naruto. He didn't expect that this big figure was not dead, he was still alive, and lived longer than anyone else. What is the purpose of such a big man looking for soil? Sure enough, that level of fire escape, riding round eyes, and that terrible technique can only be used by one person in the world. Watergate said with a solemn expression, you should be dead. You died in the battle with the first adult. Ha 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 ha. Cough cough cough. I'm too old to laugh. I was choked with saliva and coughed. Uncle Ban felt a little embarrassed when he saw people accustomed to strong winds and waves. As he was about to speak, Kiyomizu suddenly said, Mr. Watergate, he's embarrassed. Spot. Watergate. Kakashi. Is it time to talk about this? Is this kid's thinking so jumpy? Uncle Ban did not answer him, but just said to Shuiman, who said I was dead? On the contrary, the pillars have already turned into a lotus, and the corpse might have been studied by his filial disciples. Advertisement the Senju column is dead, but Konoha has many slices of intercolumnar cells. Where did they come from? Watergate knew some of the hidden secrets of the village, and just said, you are still alive, what does a character like you do with the soil? You can't bring the kid here just because he likes to help the elderly. Uncle Madara said, this kid with soil is a man of creation. Although I have betrayed Konoha, I also want to find someone to inherit what I have learned. I can't let all of Uchiha's secret techniques be lost. Now Uchi the boss are too wasteful, and they are fascinated by the small favor given by Shawi, and they are already inflated. There is nothing Konoha can hide from him. Baijushen's unknowingly infiltrating technology coupled with the ability to integrate with nature makes it easy to monitor Konoha. The Uchiha clan is no longer the Uchiha where he is now. Uchiha has too many wastes that he can't help himself. Only the kid with soil is fine. He didn't believe what he said. Kyosuke didn't believe it either, and said, come on, you probably don't believe it yourself when you say this. Taking the soil is an idiot. He can even forget the ancestral fire escape of the Uchiha clan, let alone the secret arts of the Uchiha clan, you see. Well, let's take you back to Konoha. After so many years, those hatreds have faded. If you go back and take your children, I think the son of the Uchiha clan leader is something that can be made. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi, Watergate. If I remember correctly, Fu Yuzhang's son hasn't arrived yet at the age of 3? Also, are you and Dato really friends? Spot. If I can, I don't want to take soil. There are not many fools of the Uchiha clan. And just bring the soil closest to me. The most important thing is that I really can't live long. Even if it is blessed by chakra with an outside golem, his body will not last long. After 5 years of death, this body will come to an end. Time doesn't wait for me. In order to chase his dream, Uncle Ban has worked hard for decades and must not be delayed at this time. You have a lot of words, kid, I am the heir of my choice, and I can't give it back to you. Then what if we just want to take him back? Watergate narrowed his eyes and must not leave the dirt behind, which would never be a good thing for him. Moreover, he has a hunch that something will happen to the soil in the future. It's not for you to decide. Uncle Ban broke out again and said, I don't have much time, so please join me in the funeral. Advertisement. A huge bust of the golem appeared, with a chakra blade in his hand, slashing on the wall. Rumble. Suddenly, the whole cave shook the mountain. By turning the table up, unexpectedly, Uncle Ban didn't want to spend with them anymore and just lifted the table. Watergate knew that he couldn't stay any longer. He immediately grabbed Shinzuki and Kakashi, and instantly came to Lin's shoulders and kicked her on her shoulders, on the corpse, rushed out of the cave. The boulder fell and buried the cave. Uncle Madara used the Suzuo Ningu to prop up the gravel. His only eye was full of haze, and he said, you can only use the backup plan. Have to change a hiding place. Watergate brought 3 people and a corpse of Baiju back to the surface. I didn't expect that such a big man would live to the present. Watergate wiped the cold sweat on his forehead, and the time for the fairy mode had come and disappeared. What did he take away the soil for? Kakashi frowned. Lin pursed her lips and is still alive with dirt. This is good news, but the bad news is that an old monster who has lived for many years is eyeing him. Kyosuke said, at least it is certain that that guy is still alive, there will always be a chance to find him. In addition, Ms. Mizumon, I think it's best to let Lin work at the Konoha hospital. Bring the soil and care about Lin, in case Madara catches her. Tighter, bringing the soil will really do some silly things. It's absolutely safe to put Lin in Konoha, and it's better than being taken away on the battlefield later. After thinking about it for a while, Watergate felt that it made sense. He knew that Jidu liked Lin, and could not let Ban take Lin as a threat, and let him do bad things. He nodded and said, well, I will ask a friend to arrange for Lin to be in Konoha hospital. Lin's job, I'm sorry, it's for the safety of you and the soil. Lin also knew the importance and urgency, and said, I will, teacher, Kakashi, and Shinjia, please be sure to bring the soil back in the future. We will. Well, I don't like the eye he gave me. It can't be closed at all, and I was wasting my chakra. With the soil not dead, Kakashi's mentality was much more relaxed, and he became proud again. Kyosuke smiled and said, it's better for him to be a bully fool. Chapter 110. Report Mizumon brought Kyosuke and the three back to Konoha, and hurriedly headed to the Hokage building, and found that Sarutobi had gone back to eat after get off work. Knowing that Uchiha Madara couldn't drag on this matter, he immediately took the three of them to Sarutobi's house. The person who opened the door was a middle-aged woman with light brown hair tied into a ponytail and an apron, looking like she was cooking. This is Sarutobi Hizen's wife, Shinosuke, and Asma's mother, Sarutobi Lake Biwa. Seeing the man, Sarutobi Lake Biwa was surprised and said, oh, it's Mizumon, and Kyosuke, what can you do? As a teammate of Asma, Kiyomizu also came to his house for dinner. By the way, Sarutobi Lake Biwa made delicious food. Aunt Biwa Lake, is Hokage-sama here? We have an urgent task report. I see, come in. Upon hearing the task, Lake Biwa became serious, nodded, and led them in. Excuse me. Several people took off their shoes and led them to the study room under the leadership of Lake Biwa. When they saw someone coming, the Sarutobi who was watching Xiao Lu Bei was very embarrassed. They coughed and put away Xiao Lu Bei calmly. Said, Shuiman, you are back, how are you? What did you find? Lake Pippa went out to bring the door, and when Shuiman saw this, he set a soundproof seal in the study. Seeing this, Sarutobi became serious, and it seemed that there was some important discovery, otherwise, Watergate would not be so serious. Hokage-sama, Uchiha Madara, is still alive. The impact of the name Uchiha Madara can be imagined for the impact of Sarutobi Hisaki, who has seen him with his own eyes. The whole person was shocked and speechless. After a while, he said, impossible, back then, the first adult killed Uchiha Madara in the Valley of End. I have seen his body too. Mizumon said, writing round eyes, superb fire escape, plus that special defensive ability, plus, his old appearance, except Uchiha Madara, I can't think of who he is. But, how is this possible? His body is still. Suddenly, Sarutobi Hiji seemed to remember something, and hurriedly stood up, separated a shadow clone, jumped directly out of the room, and entered the thick night. Advertisement. He closed the window, turned around, and said solemnly, tell me about the process of this mission. Yes, we found his arms and legs in the place where he was sacrificed with the soil, and found that someone had transported him away, so we went down and went to an underground cave in the country of grass and found Uchiha Madara. Uchiha Madara was clever, but he did not expect to be exposed because of a few dogs when he was old. Then, Watergate carefully told Sarutobi Hizen about what happened afterwards. The more he listened, the more ugly Sarutobi Hizen's face became. Until his shadow clone reported back the memory he had seen, his face suddenly became awkward, broke down. He let out a long sigh and said, indeed, Konoha's Uchiha Madara's body is fake. He died of fraud. Not only did he deceive the first-generation adults, but also the second-generation adults and us. That's not because the second generation wants to study Uchiha Madara's corpse. It is precisely because Madara is sure that he will study his corpse, so he set up Izanagi in advance, let himself die, and resurrected within the said time. What he sacrificed was just a corpse, and the benefit is that after awakening the eyes of reincarnation, he becomes a dead man, who can hide behind the scenes and slowly lay out the foundation for future resurrection. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. This calculation was terrifying. Shinzuki lowered his head, thinking about how to find the soil. After all, he still wanted to avoid infinite moon redding. That future is not what he wants to see. It is okay to entrust everything to the future prince and princess, but it is better to end it if you can operate it now than to rely on the son of destiny. Watergate asked, sorry, Hokage-sama, I let him run away. Letting such a dangerous person run away will definitely cause a lot of trouble in the future. Sarutobi shook his head and said, you are not to blame for this matter, it is our fault. I didn't expect that one is still alive. Shinjia spoke at this time and said, I don't think you will live long. Several people in the study looked at him. Sarutobi Hizen asked, why do you say that? If he can live forever, then he won't look for the soil. Wouldn't it be better to find the soil by himself? It may be because his body is old and is about to die. We should think about it, he will take care of it. What kind of soil will become? It is not a good thing to have a soil that wants to retaliate against the village in the future. Sarutobi and Mizuno were silent, and Kakashi and Lin also clenched their fists unwillingly. Advertisement. Kyosuke turned around and said, fortunately, we still have Lin on our side. As long as Lin is there, even if the guy with the soil is brainwashed by Uchiha and turned into a bad person, he can reform. I won't let the soil become a bad person. Absolutely not. Lin's eyes were full of firmness. Watergate was overjoyed. Yes, as long as Lin was there. Sarutobi is thoughtful. He also knows the situation of the Watergate team. Dato is one of the rare Uchiha clan who possesses the will to fire, and he attaches great importance to this girl named Nohara Lin, who belongs to the Uchiha clan. Character: this girl may play a key role, however, he didn't dare to bet. After all, it was Uchiha Madara, a ninja Shura as terrifying as the first adult. Kyosuke hit the iron while it was hot. Hokage-sama, Tai too is a very emotional person. I believe that even if he is controlled, he will not forget us. Lin is very important to him. This guy is going to destroy the world because Lin is dead. The B************* D crazy for love. I know. This matter is a secret in the village secrets, and it must not be leaked out. Only we in the room today know about it. In addition, Lin Nohara, who was promoted to Shinobu, joined Konoha Hospital. From now on, don't leave the village for a while without special circumstances. Although it is imprisonment in disguise, it is also protection. Yes. Lin accepted this treatment. As Lu Qingjie told her, if Dadaochu really went astray, she would be the only one who could bring this idiot back. Before that, she needs to protect herself. Afterwards, they walked out of the room. Lake Biwa was planning to keep them for dinner, but seeing the solemn expressions on their faces, they gave up this plan. They went home separately, but after a night of rest, Kiyomizu went to Sarutobi Risen to report for a while, went to Longmi Cave, and met the White Snake Immortal. Fairy White Snake, I want to learn the magic of Longadong. You must be prepared, otherwise, you may not have the ability to save your life in the future chaos. Chapter 111. Simple and rude Shanshu learning Fairy White Snake is still like that, with a huge white body on the stone seat, smoking a pipe. Hearing that Qingjie was going to learn immortality, he spit out a sigh of smoke and said, it should have been learned a long time ago, but I told you in advance that if you can't hold it up, I will eat you. I haven't eaten for many years. If Qingjie can't support it, it's a small snack delivered to the door. I'm ready. He took a deep breath and said, come on. Okay. Immortal White Snake turned into an old grandmother's appearance, her neck suddenly stretched, her mouth opened to reveal her fangs, and one bite on Qingjie's neck. Without the elemental body, Shinzuki felt the White Snake Fairy bite through his skin, and an indescribable energy followed her fangs into his chakra meridian. When she loosened her mouth, the White Snake Fairy recovered her snake body. After all, she was too big to be able to bite Qingjie in a human form. Ah! Kiyomizu covered her wound from the White Snake Fairy, and screamed in pain. In his body, it seemed that there were hundreds of ants biting his flesh and blood. He could feel an unprecedented energy ramming in his body, swallowing his own chakra, transforming into its appearance. This is the natural energy injected by the White Snake Immortal, which is transforming the chakra in Qingjie's body. The inheritance model of Longadong is simple and rude, unlike Miaomushan who practice hard, and is guided by Toad Immortals. In Longadong, the White Snake Fairy who is in charge of teaching immortality bites you and injects natural energy into your body, and then sees the tester's own good fortune. If you can survive it, you can survive. If you can't survive it, you will die and become her. Snacks. Chakra was fusing with the natural energy injected by the White Snake Immortal. This process was extremely painful, and his body began to change. The white snake scales began to burrow out of Chingsuk's skin, densely packed, and it was nauseating to look at. Moreover, he felt that his spine was lengthening, the degenerated tail vertebra began to extend back, and his limbs began to degenerate. Advertisement: this process is extremely painful, and it cannot be elementalized. It is not that I don't want to, but it is impossible to do it. Now his chakra is fused with natural energy, and it has gradually become a fairy chakra. During the fusion process, he cannot control it. The process of changes, degeneration and lengthening of limbs and spine is extremely painful. And new bones are being produced, and the body is getting longer. This process is serpentine. Only when serpentine is completed can it carry natural energy and learn the magic of Longadong. This process is painful, but if you can't hold it, there is only one death. The White Snake Immortal stared at Shinzuki and said, from ancient times to the present, there are only 3 people who have successfully learned the Dragon Dadong Immortal technique, and none of them are perfect controls. I don't know if you can become the 4th one. Of course, it's also one that I eat. A good choice, at least, it won't be painful. Sometimes death is not terrible, but the terrible thing is that life is better than death. Now, Qingjie is in a state where life is not as good as death. Longadong's immortality is so simple and rude. Qingjie is now in human form. In the literal sense, he is now like a crocodile pulling back and rolling in the water. His body was covered with scales, his limbs were short and sturdy, and he was still dragging a tail behind him. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. The head is connected to the body, and the eyes begin to gradually shift to the top of the head, and the teeth in the mouth turn to fangs. This process is completely changing one species into another. He no longer screamed because it was so painful that he didn't know what to say. He knew that he couldn't faint. Once fainted, he would be the belly of the White Snake Immortal when he woke up. Absolutely. Can't. Die. Gritting his teeth, he can no longer feel the existence of his arms and legs. He is now a stubby snake, but his body is still changing. The process is still going on and it is still painful. The White Snake Immortal watched him, and the 3 beautiful snakes of Shikishimaheim also came here to observe Kiyomizu. Shikishimaji smiled and said, oh, it's a lot of pleasing to be like this. Few people can survive this way. Is this going to succeed? Tien Shinji said. Who knows? If he succeeds, we will teach him immortality. Some of them are too busy and can't eat him. Well, it looks so painful. Tuanjin Ji. This is the price he should pay for learning the Dragon D Cave Immortal art. The Long Decay of Immortal Art is not so easy to learn. How can I not pay a little price? The three beautiful snakes are all watching with cold eyes. After all, to them, it doesn't matter whether Chingia died or not. If they die, let the white snake fairy eat them. If they don't die, then they will succeed, and they will teach him the corresponding fairy skills. Advertisement. I don't know how long it took. Shinzuki has completely turned into a white snake, sober all the way. This perseverance makes people feel terrible. In the body, the chakra has completed the fusion with the natural energy and transformed into the fairy chakra. At this point, Shinzuki has officially passed the test of Longadong and has the qualifications to learn immortality. Lying on the ground weakly, unable to say a word, the white snake said humanely, "Congratulations on becoming the fourth human being to learn the Dragon Earth Cave Immortal Art. It is terrible perseverance. You are the youngest among those people. Humans always make her eyes shine." Hearing this, Kyosuke rolled his eyes directly and fainted completely. He really couldn't hold on anymore. Ichikashima-ji flew over, took Shinzuki in her arms, and sent it to the White Snake Immortal. The White Snake Immortal once again became a grandmother, biting him. Probably the position of his previous neck. There was no pain this time, because Shinzuki fainted and couldn't feel it at all. He changed from a snake to a human again and said, "Ichikashima-hime, send him back, and when he wakes up, bring him back. I fainted, and I can't learn the things afterwards." Do I have to run again? It's so troublesome." Shikishima-ji pouted, and left Longi Cave with her bear Kyosuke in her arms. Immortal White Snake took a sip of his pipe and said, "It looks like I've been busy for a while, but I didn't expect Dashawan to practice successfully, but his disciple succeeded." Tuanjin-ji asked, "Sir, Immortal White Snake, what kind of fairy arts should he teach him? Let him choose by himself, this is my preferential treatment for him." Rarely, the White Snake Fairy said so. Tanjin-ji and Tien-Shin-Shen-ji both froze for a moment. It was the first time that the White Snake Fairy gave humans preferential treatment. "The fate of that kid is like a mess, I can't see it clearly. In short, it's very troublesome. This kind of person is sent away long ago after learning." She peeped into Chingsuk's fate, but she didn't see anything. She felt that it was a trouble, so it would be better for him to learn fairy art quickly. Chapter 112 Social Death, Unfamiliar Ceiling. When he woke up, Shinzuki was lying on the hospital bed. At the same time, Shikijima-hime floated in the ward, blinking at him. "By the way, why are you in Konoha?" Kyosuke asked weakly. "Of course it's to send you back. You are the first human being sent back by us. It seems that the White Snake Immortal respects you very much." Ichikashima-hime said, "I haven't been to the human world for a long time. The changes are really it's big and full of attractive chakras everywhere, I really want to eat it." As she spoke, her face became full of scales, revealing the bifurcated snake letter. "That's really an honor. Longadong's way of learning immortality is too simple and rude, no wonder there are few people learning." Recalling the pain, Shinjia still feels scalp numb. "Otherwise, do you think it's so simple for humans to learn fairy art?" Shikishima-hime flew over, sat on the edge of the bed, and said, "Humans and us are not the same species, and the learning methods are different. We naturally use our methods to let you learn. Longdi Cave will not be like Miaomu Mountain. A set of methods has been specially developed for humans to learn. The psychic beasts living in places like Miaomu Mountain and Longdi Cave are born with celestial arts and can absorb natural energy. They don't need it at all. Learn." Later, following contact with humans, they discovered that they can also learn immortal arts. Wetbone Forest and Miaomu Mountain also developed methods for humans to learn quickly. Longadong is not a study of how to let humans understand slowly, but in a safe way, to learn. Instead, choose simple and rude, regardless of life or death. In terms of quick success, Longadong is professional. Take a bite, live to learn immortality, and eat it when you die. The people who survived are basically those who learned the art of immortality, and those who didn't survive all got into the stomach of the White Snake Immortal. After hearing Ichikashima-hime's words, Kyosuke said, "It is said that one bite turns me into a snake. How did I turn back into a human again? One more bite." Shikishimaki floated to the window, looking at the scenery below, and said casually, "How to become a snake, how to change back again, it is that simple. That bite can help you heal pain, and you can feel the natural energy now." How do you feel?" Kyosuke didn't know what to do at all. Ichikashima-hime said, "Sir, White Snake Immortal leaves a natural energy in your body. You can use this natural energy to attract natural energy from the outside world. When the natural energy disappears, it means you can once you feel the natural energy, you can also enter the fairy mode by yourself." "Well, by the way, you came to Konoha, without any resistance?" Advertisement. "You mean the strongest human here? He came to see me, or he personally sent you to the hospital?" "Oh, yes, he let people wear your clothes for you." "Clothes? Clothes?" Kyosuke's face became stiff. What the hell was the clothes? "In the process of you becoming a snake, your clothes will be broken long ago, and you won't have to change back to a human being." "So, you took me without clothes and went all the way into Konoha Hospital?" "Well, otherwise, many people are watching it along the way. This wave is the scene of social death." "Ah." He covered his face and rolled back and forth on the bed. "I'm so stupid, really, this question shouldn't be asked. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. At least, don't let me know." "What's the matter?" Kakashi, who came to visit him, ran in when he heard Kyosuke's screams, saw him writhing on the bed, and looked at Ichikashima-hime in confusion. Ichikashima-hime said suspiciously, "I just said he didn't wear clothes all the way." "Ah." Shinzuki yelled louder, as if he wanted to cover it up with his screams. Kakashi dangled his eyes and said, Shinzuki, the cost is not small. Why did you see it too? Because I was the one who helped you dress, Kakashi said. Yesterday I helped Lin to go through the entry formalities. As a result, I saw Konoha Anbi and Ichikishima Haim came to Konoha Hospital with you to help. It's me that you wear. Why can't this group of Anbu be hard-minded and help me put on clothes in advance? Why is Anbu coming? Ichikishima Haim said, I don't know, I took you to Konoha's hot spring, and there was a group of unclothed female humans bathing in the hot spring. You showed up naked and scared away a group of females. Advertisement. Well, it's not from Konoha Guard, that's great. But he was also puzzled, why come from the Anbu, not the security team? Kakashi said, the guards came, but the guards said they wanted to take Master Shikishima Haim back for questioning. They didn't listen to her explanation at all. Now the guards are still lying next door, unconscious. The corner of Shinji's mouth twitched. What a tiger girl. Kakashi continued. Later, Master Naruto happened to be passing by, so he brought people and solved the matter. How can Naruto know everything so quickly? That is to say, Sarutobi Hazaki is spying on Konoha female bathhouse with the telescope that monitors the whole village. Otherwise, it is impossible to hear the wind. It's a bit like Anbu coming soon, but Hokage can't run so fast and it won't come out during the war. Shinsuke's gaze deepened. He wanted to learn the technique of telescopes too. Ichikishima Haim floated in the air and said, the human being has a good strength. He signed a psychic contract with the Sarumo clan. If he speaks well, I will give you to him. But I want to play here for a while. It's easy to get out of Longdi Cave, but you can't go back so simply. Alas, ancestors, go back, you are my humanoid black history. Are you okay? Kakashi asked while sitting. It's nothing big. This trip to Longdi Cave has yielded a lot. He asked Shiwajima, Sister Shiwajima, when can I learn immortality? Oh, you can do it anytime. You should learn how to enter the fairy mode first now. As for the fairy art, I can teach you. Shikijima suddenly changed her face, and Kakashi was shocked. She said, as long as you accompany me to stroll around here, I can teach you how to quickly enter the fairy mode. Really? That's great. You can learn the fairy model at the first hearing, and Shinji suddenly feels that he can get up and take Shikijima around the village. Kakashi on one side cast an envious look, but it was just envious. Said, Kaisuka, remember to get dressed. Don't mention this to me. Chapter 113. Fairy mode. Shichudao Ji is the most human-like immortal among the high levels of Longadong, but she doesn't like walking very much, floating in the air, attracting a group of people on the road to watch. After all, in their impression, no human can fly. However, Ichikishima Haim didn't care about this. She was very curious about the things in the human world, and bought a lot of things, of course, with the money of Shinzuki. I took Shikishima Haim to play until the evening. After dinner, I took her back to my home. Shikijima stretched out and said, well, your human world is more interesting, and it gave me a lot of inspiration. Inspiration? What inspiration? Kyosuke asked curiously. Of course it is the inspiration of how to lie to mankind. We did not lie to you last time. We discovered that we may not be able to keep up with the rhythm of the times. The development of your human beings has been too rapid in recent years, and the Longdi Cave often does not come. People make our level especially easy to pass. Your level is like a joke. However, out of politeness, he didn't say it, but just silently mourned for the latecomers. Anyway, it's not just yourself. He asked it this time. By the way, can I learn how to enter the fairy mode? Well, it's okay, but the natural energy here is too thin, so let's go to the Dragon Cavern. Remember to take all my things back. I know. Put all the things Ichikishima Haim was interested in and bought into the seal scroll, and then went to Longji Cave with her. The White Snake Immortal still occupies the stone table. His huge body seems to be fused with Longdi Cave. Seeing him come, without speaking, Tanjinji walked over and said, Asakawa Kyosuke, are you here to learn immortality? Yes, I will not enter the fairy mode yet. Tanjinji said, next, I will guide you in your practice, come with us. Advertisement. Following Tianshinji and Tanjinji, they came to a dark cave. The flame ignited, lighting up the cave, and found a stone platform in the middle of the cave. Tanjinji pointed to the stone platform and said, go and sit on it. Sitting cross-legged on the stone platform, Tanjinji said, experience the little natural energy that immortal white snake left in your body with your heart. I said, I won't become a snake this time. Thinking back to the pain last time, he was a little scared now. Tanjinji shook her head and said, no, in fact, the learning of the fairy arts in Longadong will turn humans into snakes, but losing consciousness or losing in the process is a failure in our view. The practice of fairy arts in the three holy places failure will make human beings what we are. Just as if you fail to practice the immortal technique of Miaomu Mountain, people will turn into stone frogs. Longdi Cave just advances the failure, because this transformation process is extremely painful, and you will die if you carelessly, compared with Miaomu Mountain and Wet Bone Forest. Cultivation of immortal arts is much cruel, but the threshold for cultivation is lower. Well, it just looks. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. With the natural energy of the White Snake Immortal, there is no need to learn how to perceive natural energy. As long as you touch that little natural energy, you can automatically absorb natural energy, and then it will become instinctive. When you want to use it, your body will also automatic absorption. Shinzuki closed his eyes and focused, carefully perceiving the unusual energy in his body, and his heart gradually calmed down. Gradually, he felt that special energy. Tanjinji's voice came in her ears, if you feel it, use your chakra to touch the natural energy. According to Tanjin-ji's instructions, Kyosuke immediately used his chakra to touch the natural energy. As soon as it touches, the natural energy is like the overbearing president encountering the little wife. He absorbed the chakra with a brain, and then began to expand frantically, merge with the chakra, and become the fairy chakra. At the same time, he is very close to nature. The perception of energy also began to improve, and these natural energies were sucked into the body by oneself, speeding up the fusion with chakra. As they merged, the surrounding scenes became more clear in Kyosuke's mind. The location of the three immortals such as Tanjin-ji, etc., was felt at their own distance. Not only that, but the cave's appearance also appeared in his mind. In addition, the scope of perception is getting larger and larger, and more snakes appear in perception. And around his eyes, purple fairy facial makeup appeared, like the eyeshadow of Dashimaru, extending to the sides of the nose, which added a touch of unspeakable charm to the handsome Kyosuke. Is there no snake? Perfect fairy model, Tien Shin Shenji commented. If the fairy model is not perfect, humans will become like animals. For example, the imperfect fairy model will look a bit like a toad, and the medicine master will grow horns. Advertisement. Of course, the growth of a snake on the stomach of the pharmacist should have nothing to do with the Longadong, it may be a transformation of himself. Kyosuke opened his eyes, and the original round pupils turned into golden cold snake pupils, which looked a bit like a replica of the big snake pill. Is this the fairy mode? Now, his body is filled with a large number of Shanshu chakra, his strength has more than doubled, and he is even more powerful. Wait, what is this? I felt a foreign body in my eyes, and moved my eyelids, but a transparent film fell, covering the eyes. This is the cornea. Ichikishima said, although you are a perfect fairy model, the cornea is carried by the fairy model. Now I will teach you heat induction. Snakes have a heat sensing system that can sense their prey through heat. After all, they are all highly myopic. Although the snakes in Longadong have good vision, they are so dark that they need heat sensing. Oh. This kind of good thing is needed on the fog-hidden battlefield. Their group likes to hide themselves with thick fog all day long, and the thermal induction is just right to deal with them. Thermal induction is not difficult for Kyosuke to learn. Originally, he did not have this ability. It was just that after being snaked, some changes occurred in his body that he did not even know, such as the thermal induction system. Ichikishima just used Shanshu to turn on his own thermal induction system, and this ability can be used even if he is not in Shenren mode. The thermal sensor is 360 degrees. In front of his eyes, 3 groups of thermal images with different colors appeared. It seems really unaccustomed. This feeling is very strange, Ichikishima said to teach him, mainly to teach him how to adapt to his own thermal imaging. Okay, the next step is to teach you celestial arts. We have several kinds of celestial arts here. Let me tell you that you can learn 3 kinds of celestial arts. Tanjin-ji said, here comes, Shanshu, chapter 114, my life is over. In the end, Kyosuke chose the immortal method, the technique of white excitement, the immortal method, the inorganic reincarnation, and the immortal method and the change of objects. The Beiji technique and the pharmacist after the inorganic reincarnation have also come to learn, and they are both very powerful fairy techniques. The white shock technique makes the air in a certain area vibrate continuously, so that the target feels that the bones of the whole body are rubbing, and even the body of the attacked person is numb, and the sound and strong light will also be emitted when the attack is performed. Affect the target's hearing and vision. This technique is so terrible that the 2 pillars in Itachi's Susanna form are difficult to maintain. And Shinjia has a cornea, and the body can be elementalized and can ignore the abnormalities of the body, so you can learn this technique. Otherwise, if you learn this technique, use it, it will hurt the enemy 1800. As for inorganic rebirth, this is not simply a ninjutsu that uses chakras to control substances, but reincarnation ninjutsu that gives life to inorganic substances and controls them, so that things such as stones and the earth can be transformed into the shape you want. The action of inorganic matter will also be extremely fast under the action of the technique. The change of objects is Tien Shin Shenji's unique illusion. It is the illusion that Shinzuki used when she first met her, the glorious gatehouse he created, and the food that can be indistinguishable from the real and the fake, and it is almost out of the illusion category, that is the illusion that arrives in reality. The first thing Shinzuki learned was inorganic reincarnation. Beiji's technique belongs to the kind of irrespective of the enemy and the enemy. Only one person can act normally, and both the enemy and the companion will be injured. This technique can only be used by one person acting alone. Inorganic reincarnation is very suitable for you. By changing the terrain, you can create a terrain that is beneficial to you. Whether it is offensive or defensive, it is perfect. Very cost-effective, but let's learn. Hey, are you listening to me? Ichikishima is telling Kyosuke the principle of inorganic reincarnation and how to use it. It is very long, saying that he has begun to doubt life. Who am I? Where am I? What am I doing? Take me a good lesson. Shikishima pinched Kyosuke's face with her hand, and said, do you know how many people outside want to learn immortality without a chance? Not even your teacher. You kid don't know what is good or bad. Since ancient times, there are only 4 people who can learn Longadong Shanshu plus Kyosuke. I don't know how many years ago the last one is. The textbooks of Shikijima-ji are still many years ago and have not been updated, so it sounds like something is wrong. In the mist, Shinjia was dizzy. I know, I'm digesting what you said. I haven't been a human yet, so human beings have their limits. Ichikishima, Kyosuke said. If you can learn faster if you don't be a human being, I will ask Lord White Snake Immortal to make you a snake again. Advertisement recalling the pain before, Shinzuki immediately said, I will study hard. Very well, come on, go on. When using inorganic reincarnation, you need to pay attention. When he returned to Konoha for dinner, Kiyomizu was stunned. Asma and Hong, who returned to Konoha, were shocked to see how stupid others were. Asma said, Shinzuki, aren't you? Listen to my old man, didn't you go to that dragon ground cave to practice? How did it become like this? Just practice for one day, right? One day. Kyosuke looked at Asma madly and said, do you know how I came here this day? Do you know? Shinzuki. Shinzuki is dead. Standing in front of you is Asakawa Shenran Kyosuke, who will definitely learn immortality. I have learned immortality. None of the 6 immortals can stop me, I said. Facing his loud words, Hong and Asma glanced at each other, and it seemed. The torment was not light, Hong coaxed. Well, you will sit down, come and eat first. I don't eat or drink. I want to learn fairy skills. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. It's over, completely crazy. No, this guy has been stunned. Go to the hospital, go to the hospital. Asma picked up Shinjia and ran to the hospital. Red followed closely. Along the way, Shinjia was still yelling. I will definitely succeed in my studies. Strange social deaths have increased, my life is full of regrets. Shinzuki, who had been recuperated in the hospital, was lying on the bed, her eyes blank. Because Ichijishimaji's duck-filling education has stuffed knowledge in, and all kinds of principles are explained again. Shinjia in the fairy mode has greatly increased memory and processing ability, but a lot of knowledge enters the head, not completely dealt with it, plus not having much rest, after coming out, he is in a trance. To put it bluntly, after staying up for a few days and nights, the mood became unstable. Advertisement. When I woke up from sleep, I found myself successfully dying socially again. After all, Asma ran to Konoha Hospital on his back, yelling along the way, like, I'm not crazy, I don't want to take medicine. Lin, who has already started working at Konoha Hospital, pushed in and saw his dead eyes and said helplessly, Kyosuke, don't do this, the director said, you just lack rest. You just need to sleep for a few more days, all right. Lin, my pain is above you. Shinzuki cried, now listen to Konoha's evaluation of me, the neurotic disciple of teacher Dashawan. Obviously Dashawan is also a neurotic. So, don't you argue that you are insane? Lin still kept a polite smile and said, let's continue to rest. Just get a good night's sleep. My life is over. Lin brought home, the director was right, she still needs a rest. Of course, Shinjia did not rest and went to Longdadong to practice. A week later, at Longdadong, Shinzuki looked at the small soil bag rising in front of him and said, okay, I succeeded. Ichikishimaheim said, you still need to practice well, but you can be considered as a preliminary master, it's okay. Next, just increase the output of Shanshu chakra. Shinzuki was full of confidence and imported more Shanshu chakra into the land under his feet. Cianfa inorganic reincarnation. It was as if life had appeared on the surface. Under Chingji's control, a large number of ground thorns rose into soil and slammed into the cave wall above his head. With a bang, many stalactites fell. Ichikajima nodded, it's okay, you have learned it. Let Tanjinji teach you the technique of Beiji. You need to specially ask Professor Tianzin Shinji to change things, and only she can. I don't have much time now, I'm going to the battlefield. Konoha is still at war, and he still needs to go to the battlefield of Konoha and Mist to participate in the battle. Chapter 115. Uchiha Shisui Naruto Office Sarutobi Hizen looked at Kyosuke and asked, have you come back from practicing so soon? He remembered that when Jilai also went to Miaomu Mountain to practice, but he often didn't see people for a long time. Did he practice in Longdadong so quickly? Well, Hokage-sama, I'm going to Mistian. Well, be careful, the situation there is getting more and more troublesome. During his training period, 3 generations of Shui Ying held the sick body and led the Misty Ninja to attack the defensive formation of Oshimaru. Oshimaru brought a group of crooked melons and cracked dates against the elite members of the Misty. Retreat to the state camp of Wave, facing the country of water across the sea. Although he was beaten to retreat, the body of the 3rd generation Shui Ying was also worn down, and he fell ill in bed and died soon. You go to Wuyan this time, take someone over, come in. At this time, a black-haired teenager who looked about the size of a red bean pushed in the door. His eyes were big and enlightened. He was white and tender, wearing a wooden leaf guard, high-necked short-sleeved, and a short knife. Master Naruto. Sarutobi nodded and introduced, this is Uchiha Shisui. His ancestor is the same as me, and he is a disciple of the 2nd generation of adults. I will participate in the war this time. I hope you can take him with him. Uchiha Shisui. Good guy, this is the one who has the strongest illusion, other gods, in the future. Other gods can manipulate others at will without knowing it, and permanently and completely change people's mind and will. The power is huge, but each use requires more than 10 years of cooling time, unless there is a chakra of the level between the 1,000 hands and pillars. The technique can be used again in a short period of time. In other words, if Shishui is given a tail beast, his character is a little more abnormal, and Dadang Muhuye might have to ride all over his body in the basement. Hello, Senior Shinzuki, I hope to follow you to the Wuyan battlefield in this war, Jishui said politely. With this polite tone, Kyosuke couldn't help but look at Sarutobi Hizen. Naruto-sama, is he really from the Uchiha clan? So polite? It's impossible for the Uchiha clan to be so polite. Sarutobi recut. Advertisement, Shishui. Well, Senior Kyosuke, you may have a bit of misunderstanding about the Uchiha clan. They just don't express themselves well. Shisui said helplessly, and he can't help it. Most Uchiha clan members are dead and arrogant. People like Shisui can be said to be an accident. Sarutobi Hizen coughed and said, Kyosuke, Shisui is a very polite child, and don't say those things just now in the village, it will affect the unity of the village. It's okay, they can't beat me anyway. After Chingia learned the immortality, it can be said that the whole person is swollen. Sarutobi Hitoshi's body stiffened. This is really true. The Uchiha clan are good at fire escape, but their fire escape in front of Kyosuke is just like a joke. If you write round eyes, there is a hammer for it, so you can't fight alone. Several Uchiha tribesmen are his opponents. Before you know it, has the strength of this child grown to this point? Shisui's face was embarrassed, but he was a little dissatisfied in his heart. After all, he was still a member of the Uchiha clan. Hearing this, as a member of the Uchiha clan, he still has a sense of honor. Sarutobi Hizen said, well, I know your strength has increased again, but you must not be proud and complacent. This is a big taboo for ninjas. Few proud ninjas can go in the long run, and they are so confident in their own strength. Ninjas who want to show off will eventually die in the hands of the enemy, with few exceptions. Shinzuki said, I know, Shisui is the only one? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. There is also Kakashi. The battle on the battlefield of the Land of Earth has basically stabilized. It is enough for the Watergate to be there. He needs to run on the battlefields of the Land of Earth and the Land of Thunder alone, with the card. It's not convenient for Cassie, he will go to Wuyan with you. I see, by the way, there Lin. Someone from the Anbu is protecting her. In order to avoid special circumstances, Sarutobi Hizen also made preparations. Knowing that Uchiha Madara was still alive, he felt like a mountain in his heart, and he was a little out of breath. Okay, I get it, I'm leaving now. He patted Shisui on the shoulder. After leaving Shisui, I will take you to the battlefield. Yes, I trouble you senior. Go away. Bringing Shisui to Konoha's gate, Kakashi was already waiting there, carrying a backpack, and seeing Kyosuke coming, with Shisui, he asked suspiciously, he is. Advertisement Kyosuke introduced. Uchiha Shisui, a member of the Uchiha clan, go to the Wuyan battlefield. Shisui with us, this is Hagi Kakashi. I've heard of you, Senior Kakashi, your deeds are very heroic. No, it's nothing. Kakashi was evoked with sadness, and his mood fell suddenly. Shisui thought he was in trouble, and was a little anxious. Kyosuke pulled him aside and said in a low voice, it's okay, his companion has an accident. It is also from the Uchiha clan, called Uchiha Bring the Soil. Before leaving, he cut his right eye. Give it to him. Although Kakashi was very happy to know that Dato was not dead, he felt very uncomfortable when he thought of Dato being carried by Uchiha. What if Uchiha Madara turns into a bad person after taking the soil? It turned out to be so, I shouldn't have said that. It's okay, he will get used to it in the future. Kyosuke didn't care when he waved his hand. If the future is still the same, Kakashi still blames himself. Are you really friends? Shisui feels that the relationship between these two people is similar to that of plastic. Soon after, Asma and Hong also arrived. Under Kyosuke's introduction, they met Shisui. Asma said puzzledly, there are not many Uchiha people on the battlefield of Misty Hidden. The environment there is not friendly to you. Why? Will Shisui disappear into the fog? Kyosuke said, because the hidden battlefield is considered the safest. Compared with the wars in the Land of the Land and the Land of Thunder, the battle in the Land of Water is considered safer, not as fierce as the first two battlefields. Although the environment is not friendly to the Uchiha clan, it can at least give Shisui experience. Shisui said, I asked Naruto-sama to join the battlefield, because I was not at ease, so I asked my senior to take me to the country of water. I might have to trouble you seniors along the way. It's okay. Asma waved her hand. Leave it to us, we will take care of you. Hong showed a charming smile like a big sister. Kyosuke's eyes were deep, and he kept looking between Asma and Shisui, these two. There is nothing similar, if you really want to say, it is that the hair is black. Why did Shisui die for many years, so Asma's daughter looked like Shisui? The age of Shisui is a mystery. I don't know how old is it than Itachi. Here I said it to be 6 years older. Chapter 116. Take the initiative Nami Country, Konoha Camp. Shinzuki and the others returned to the camp. After they settled down, Shinzuki took Shisui and Kakashi to Ashimaru to report. However, Dashawan was not too cold to the little boy Shisui. After taking a look at Kakashi, he let them leave. Instead, he kept Shinzuki and asked, Master Sarutobi wrote to say that you have completed the Longi Cave. The practice of immortality? Yeah. Shinzuki didn't hide it, and said, yes, I can already use the fairy mode. Dashimaru looked at him enviously, nodded, and said, yes, I didn't succeed at the beginning, and I couldn't bear the terrible chakra. You succeeded, very good. As if it was a worry, he said, how much does the fairy mode increase your power? At least twice. At least, as far as Kyosuke's strength is concerned, even if it is doubled, his strength is already extremely terrifying. He said, tomorrow you join the battlefield and try your power with mist. In his opinion, mist is just experimental product only. To understanding. After Oshimaru asked Kyosuke about the characteristics of the fairy model, she continued to deal with her own affairs. In the camp, Shisui and Kakashi are checking their own equipment. Although he is very young, his talent is extremely strong, even above Uchiha Itachi. Senior. Seeing Shinzuki coming back, I said hello to him. Where is Asma? Senior Asma, they went to deal with things. So, Shisui, how does it feel to be on the front line? Kyosuke sat down and asked. Shisui thought for a while, the atmosphere is completely different from Konoha. I'm more nervous, and I rarely see people laughing. Because it's a battlefield, Kyosuke said, everyone is numb. Because he is numb, smiles and so on are meaningless things. Kakashi, what do you do with us tomorrow? Shinji asked. Kakashi put down the wiped Kumo and said, I will act with you, what is the task tomorrow? Punch through the mist. Advertisement, what? Kakashi felt that he must have heard it wrong, what the hell is it to punch through the mist? It means it literally. In fact, tomorrow I will be the main force alone. Teacher Ashimaru wants to see the power of my fairy model. In other words, will Ashimaru-sama also act together tomorrow? Well, it should be. I guess tomorrow's opponent should not be underestimated. I am afraid that the third generation Shui Ying who can let Da Xuan do it himself is going to be the last time. 3 generations of Shui Ying have been lying on the hospital bed recently, and he is the only one who can dispatch Oshimaru. The strength of Katachi Orange Yakura is probably weaker than Oshimaru. Although the front line of the mist is commanded by him, no matter what his strength still not as powerful as the 3 ninjas of Oshimaru. His strength has not yet reached its peak. Oshimaru also didn't put Katasho Yakura in his eyes, and only 3 generations of water shadows could be of concern to him. That's it looks like you will be ready tomorrow. After wiping the kunai well, Kakashi began to adjust his state. Although the dirt-laden riding wheel eyes allowed him to use the Chidori he created, because he was not from the Uchiha clan, the riding wheel eyes could not be closed, and he kept on the chakra that consumes him is too much, and the physical condition must be adjusted. Shinzuki said to Shisui, you are still young, so don't keep up with us, there will be tasks arranged for you later. Yes. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi, Shisui nodded, he also knew that he was young, and it would be great if he could come. For tasks are tasks, just listen to the above arrangements. The next day hundreds of Konoha ninjas gathered and formed a team under the leadership of Oshimaru. They stepped across the sea mightily and gathered for the land of water. This time, they will launch an attack. A group of people rushing on the surface of the sea will naturally attract the attention of Wuyin, and Kakashi and Kyosuke take the lead. The two dived into the land of water, climbed ashore, and touched the camp where Wuyin was stationed. With a gesture to each other, Kakashi lifted his forehead, revealing the scarlet riding wheel eye. Kyosuke rushed out first, grabbed the nearest misty ninja, and twisted his neck. Enemy attack. But as soon as the man called out, Kakashi's throat was pierced by Kakashi. Although he had lost the white teeth passed down to him by his father, it was fine to use Kuka, and it did not affect his strength. Water escape the art of Water-Tooth Bullet. Advertisement. Water escape the art of Water-Tooth Bullet. A misty ninja launches water escape ninjutsu, and Kakashi sees it in his eyes, and instantly imitates it, and uses the speed of being single for more than 10 years to launch ninjutsu almost at the same time as the opponent. The Water-Tooth Bullet and the Water-Tooth Bullet collided together, and the sudden change made the misty ninja too late to react. His throat hurt, and blood burst out. Kyosuke dropped his corpse casually and said, Kakashi, don't use the copied ninjutsu to fight against your opponent. You don't have much chakra, so there is no need to waste it. I just try to ride round eyes power. Kakashi knew what to do, and rushed into the team again. This time, he killed the opponent by dividing by 2, such as cutting melons and vegetables. Naturally, Shinji was not idle. A large number of snakes rushed out from his sleeves, tied up a few misty ninjas, and strangled them alive. Looking around, with heat induction, everyone here has been killed by him and Kakashi, and the body temperature of those people is gradually disappearing. Here, it's solved, and asthma is probably going to be soon. At this moment, a flare rose in the sky. With a wave of Shinji's arm, a ball of fire rose into the sky and exploded in the air. Bang bang bang. The flare bombs also exploded in the sky, announcing the success of the sneak attack. At the same time, on the surface of the sea, Maru saw the flares exploded in the distance, and knew that the misty sideguard had been resolved. Set off. The large forces speed up their actions. It's no joke if they are attacked by the misty water escape on the sea. The misty sideguards must be resolved first. During the time when the misty water escapes, enough Konoha landed in the land of water. Kakashi threw away the dripping kunai, and said to Kyosuke on one side, next into the misty sphere of influence? No, defense, the misty people are approaching this place. In his thermal induction, there is an extremely subtle thermal reaction in the distance, although it is small, but it is many. This also shows the arrival of the misty ninja. Hide it well. When mist hides, I use the technique of mist to start the battle first. It's very unfriendly to your riding wheel. This is also the reason why the Uchiha clan rarely comes to the mist. Not only is the technique of mist hiding is unfriendly, almost all members of the mist hide the water escape, and the Uchiha clan, who is also unfriendly to all of them, is equally unfriendly. Chapter 117. The beginning of the war the mist is misty, and the arrival of mist is always accompanied by thick mist. Shinzuki and Kakashi held their breaths and hid themselves. In the heat of Shinsuke's induction, the figures got closer and closer. He said, Kakashi, you have 5 people at 1 o'clock and 6 at 11 o'clock. Understood. Kakashi nodded, squeezing kunai tightly. 1 or 2. 3, Kyosuke rushed out, and Kakashi was with Kakashi. The hot flame illuminated the mist, revealing the misty and frightened face, and was swallowed mercilessly by the flame in a scream. Kakashi didn't even scream, cut their throats with super-fast action speed, and took their lives ruthlessly. Leaving a corpse, Shinji said, the army is about to come, and Wuyin and Konoha will have a head-on conflict. Let's pick it up here. I think we have to protect ourselves. The misty army is here. The one that just started is just the beginning. Now the tricky is just beginning. Shinzuki said softly when he saw the heat reaction. Come yet? Kakashi could only see a thick fog, and it was really unfriendly to Shilenian. Come on, Shui Dunheads, jump up. The two jumped to the tree, and then a wave of 10 meters high hit the tree they were in. Fortunately, the tree was tall and thick. People have already come, not many. This time, Kakashi could see the chakra reaction in the mist. A group of people represented a person. A rough count of the past was also 1,000, same number as Konoha. I saw it. It's very troublesome. Have you seen any particularly powerful chakras? Many. The air gradually cooled down, and it was obvious that people from the Shui Wuyue clan had arrived. Step aside. Pushing Kakashi away, a large amount of ice was plunged into the place where the two had just stood. Konoha's kid is here again. I remember you, Kyosuke Asakawa. I didn't expect you to come here to die. Advertisement: a ninja who looked like a woman but was actually a man walked out. Not only him, but also a lot of misty ninjas appeared around him, surrounding them too with a bad expression. You know? Kakashi asked. If it weren't for the fact that Mizumasuki ninja was male and female, based on this tone and expression, one could think that it was a romantic debt caused by Shinzuki. Do I know you? Kyosuke looked at the Mizusuki ninja suspiciously and said, I probably haven't seen you before. You haven't seen you, but you killed my uncle, our Misty Elite Ninjas, and the 7 ninja swordsmen. I want to avenge them. Oh Tilda. Shinji said meaningfully, and said with a smile. It turns out that it's like this, but don't you really value your own strength? He rushed forward, so fast that people could not believe it, stretched out his hand and grabbed his throat, and said, I'm not even afraid of the 7 ninja swords. How can you take me as a small person? Click. Click. Suddenly, his arm rose from a hard ice block and stretched toward his shoulder, freezing cold. Only in the next second, the flames burned, melted the ice on his arms, and burned Shui Wuyukong's throat, and he yelled in pain. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Let go. Let him go. The big guy is standing side by side. He is Konoha ninja. There is no need to fight them one-on-one. Kakashi sighed helplessly, rushed forward, kicked one of them, threw kunai, and nailed it to his forehead. Water escaped the art of the great waterfall. Water escaped the art of the great waterfall. The two fierce waters collided together, shocking each other. Kakashi rushed over and stared. Illusory skill writer eyes. The opponent suddenly fell into the illusion, and fell down with a plop. Kyosuke twisted the throat of Shuazuke Wuyukong and waved a flame. The flame split in the air instantly and turned into several flames. Under his control, he turned to light the misty ninjas. He clapped his hands and said, Here is it. Shui done the technique of water mackerel bombs. Immediately escaped with Kakashi, a team of people appeared, and the leader was the current owner of the Kakashi Muscle, Dry Persimmon Ghost Shark. Advertisement. It turned out to be Mr. Asakawa. I didn't expect that we would meet again. Although the dried persimmon ghost has a shark face, this guy is surprisingly polite and smiles to others, but his smile matches the shark face. Look. Woke up unexpectedly crippled. Ah, it's so predestined. To be honest, I really don't want to run into you. The dried persimmon ghost is much more difficult to deal with than the watermelon puffer fish ghost. You know, if you don't have yourself, the watermelon mountain puffer ghost died on the hands of the dried persimmon ghost shark, and it is in the case of the hand muscles. This shows that dry persimmon ghost shark is still more difficult to deal with than watermelon puffer fish ghost. An acquaintance again. Of course, this guy is the new ninja swordsman, but you are the only ninja swordsman now, right? That's right, Mr. Asakawa's blow to Wuyan is really too big, although I am also a member of the Ninja 7 because of you. The dried persimmon ghost shark smiled, showing a mouth of fangs, and lifting the big sword shark muscle. The upper bandage was suddenly burst by the shark's muscle, exposing the shark's hideous body. Well, it's troublesome to wrap bandages every time, right? Kakashi. The dried persimmon ghost shark. The misty ninjas. Is it time to talk about this? Kakashi understood why Kyosuke had a good relationship with Tadu. These two guys are stupid. A fool and a fool attract each other. You are really funny and humorous, said the dried persimmon ghost shark. It's really troublesome, but I think it's okay. After the battle, bandaging the shark muscle is also a kind of relaxation. It's all said that now is not the time to say this. Master Ghost, isn't it the time to talk about this? Someone whispered to the side. Indeed. The dried persimmon ghost shark laughed, and rushed forward with a big sword shark muscle in his hand. Kyosuke immediately avoided and said to Kakashi, Kakashi, don't be approached by the shark muscle, he will absorb your chakra. With Kakashi's chakra volume, he was sucked a few times, and there was no need to fight. After this guy had a riding wheel, his chakra volume was surprisingly low. Art fire escape ho fireball. A fireball flew from the side, and the shark muscle saw it and did not avoid it. A person behind him spit out a sip of water and extinguished the fireball. The shark muscle stood on the tree and said, It looks like you Konoha really came out of the nest, this time. But it's really hard to deal with. Konoha ninjas appeared one by one. Oshimaru stood on the tree with a sneer on his face, looking at the same pale 3 generations of water shadows. The war is about to start. Chapter 118 Siege. Oshimaru, you fellow, want to attack our water country again? 3 generations of Shui Ying's face was pale, and he said with an expression of a short-term fate. Dashimaru sneered. When you are sick and killing you, the poisonous snake will not let go of the prey that it can kill. 3 generations of Shui Ying, you are about to die. Yes, the 3 generations of Shui Ying are dying. This is something that all the ninjas know. Their faces show sorrow. Even if that is the case, their leaders are still at the forefront, in order to protect their country and the village struggled. Katachi Tachibana Yakura said loudly. Everyone raised their heads. Master Sukage has been fighting to protect us in the village so far. What reason do we have not to fight? The ninjas who killed Konoha killed them for the sake of losing revenge for his comrades and companions. Kill them. Kill Konoha ninja. Get out of our homeland. Hash plus hash equals. For the fog to hide, people were available. Katachi Tachibana Yakura nodded to Sandai Suijing. Sandai Suijing exhaled and said, Oshamaru, I will drive you out. You guys don't want to enter our water country half a step. Oshamaru still sneered. As expected of the 3 generations of water shadows, I admire this awe-inspiring righteousness, but you are the first to attack Konoha. Why can't we Konoha attack the country of water? Now let's go back. It sounds good. He despises Wu Yin's magnificent sounding. It was obviously your first move. Now they, who are legitimately defending, have become the perpetrators. Someone cares and no one cares. Shit basin buckle. Ahem, it's useless to say more. Foggy everyone, for the village. Charge with me. The 3 generations of Shui Ying did not talk nonsense with Da Shiwan, leading the people to rush out. Oshamaru sneered and waved. Konoha's ninja also fought with Konoha. Konoha and the Misty ninjas fight each other and the battle is fierce. Kyosuke and Terumi Ming looked at each other and said. You came. Yes, here I am. You shouldn't have come. But I have come. You are no longer my opponent, Terumi Ming. He exhaled, and he was surrounded by Misty ninjas, the Huie clan, the Ghost Lamp clan, the Mizuki clan, and Terumi Ming. All dealing with him was the Wuyin village's blood succession boundary. Advertisement used blood succession boundary to deal with blood succession boundary. Bing Dun Yan Shushui. Flying bone needle. Water escape the art of water iron cannon. Solving escape demonstration of melting. Facing the ninjutsu attack, Kyosuke's face was neither joy nor sadness, using the 2nd generation Hokage's special method of printing, water escape waterfront wall. A spiral water wall appeared around, stopping those attacks. Terumi Mei said with a cold face, Kyosuke, today, I will definitely kill you here. Kyosuke was silent for a while and said, that's it. It looks like you have made up your mind, Ming. He laughed. After all, we are not from the same village. You are so cute. If you are from a village, I will definitely chase you. Of course, I am Long One. So handsome, dating a girl has been in line for 8 years. Terumi Ming. I was a little sad at first, but now I don't even want to kill this scumbag. Water escape the art of water dragon bomb. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. A water dragon rushed over with its teeth and claws. Kyosuke opened his mouth with a flame to counteract the water dragon, and said, sneak attack from behind is not a good thing. You know, Wushuang is the best sneak technique in the world. He smiled, and a flame spear condensed in his hand, which was thrown out forcefully by him. The spear rushed out and pierced a guy's chest without even giving him a chance to scream. Kill him. I don't know who yelled out, and then Wuyan set the fire, and various ninjutsu greeted Shinzuki. Kyosuke immediately stepped aside, and suddenly realized that the fog around him was getting thicker. There was a scream. It was Konoha ninjas. In the dense fog, they are not misty opponents. Silent homicide. Fog's special assassination method is to cover the line of sight with fog and use sound to determine the enemy's position. It is a top-level assassination method. Shinzuki glanced over, how to say, only the heat can be seen, because mixing with Konoha's people is really hard to judge. Feng Dun Shen Biao, wind escape big breakthrough. Advertisement. Wind escape wind blows snow. The well-ventilated Konoha ninjas formed a team, exhaling the storm and blowing away the mist. Lost the concealment of the mist, the figure of the Misty Ninja was suddenly exposed. You have Zhang Liangji. I have a wall ladder. When the Misty Ninja loses the mist, he loses the chance of a sneak attack and has to face with Konoha. Dashimaru and the 3 generations of Water Shadow fight again, and various ninjutsus emerge one after another. In a short time, the forest becomes a country of Z. A powerful ninja fights and can easily change the terrain. Ding ding ding. Kyosuke and Terumi were fighting with Kanai, and they didn't keep their hands on each other. They were all killer moves. After Kyosuke practiced in Longjadong, even if he didn't use the fairy mode, his strength also increased to a certain extent. The two people who had not much difference in their original strengths, there has been a gap between. However, Terumi Mei is not alone. Water escape the art of water iron cannon. Her opponent Wei Deng Zanyu used ninjutsu to support Shinzuki, and if he was hit, his body would definitely be injured. Bone vein dance of Willow. Wei Yizu took sharp bones on his palms, elbows, shoulders, and knees, penetrating the epidermis, and attacking with gentle physical skills without the slightest extra movement. The attacks were varied and weird. It's a pity that even if his attack penetrates Shinsuke's body, it is useless. The elemental Shinzuki can't feel any pain and won't get hurt. Get out of the way. Takitori, Terumi Ming yelled, and Kagaya Takitori immediately retreated. What's the matter? Are you so afraid of me? I don't know how to eat people. Shinzuki chuckled, and a large amount of liquid fell on his head, and the flames rose up on him, evaporating the liquid in a brain. He said, sneak attack. There are more and more people around. It looks like you are determined to kill me. In his perception, there were a total of 20 Misty ninjas surrounding him, looking at Terumi Mei and saying, are you the leader? Yes. Oh, I know, then you remember today, Ming, this is the worst decision of your life, let you try my latest power. His hands were sealed, and the chakra touched the natural energy left by the white snake fairy. The natural energy began to automatically drive the chakra in the body to rotate and absorb the natural energy from the outside world. A purple fairy face appeared, and his eyes turned into cold snake pupils. Cianfa Inorganic Reincarnation, Chapter 119, Mio Jinchuriki. Cianfa Inorganic Reincarnation. With a low drink, the water under Qingji's feet was injected into a large amount of Shanshu chakra. Suddenly, the surface of the water boiled as if it had been boiled, and it was gurgling with bubbles. Shimizu rose, and under the control of Kyosuke, in an instant, water arrows flew out of the water, piercing through the body of the misty ninja who would not be able to react in the future. What? The screams came one after another, the blood stained the water surface. Terumi Ming and other people who evaded looked at Kyosuke here with lingering fear, feeling deeply afraid of his explosive strength. How is it possible? How could his strength soar so fast? Obviously before the fight, the strength is not much different. Is he hiding his strength all the time? Ming, step back, I don't want to kill you yet. The flow of water surrounds Kyosuke's production, as if guarding him. Water is an inorganic substance, and naturally under his control, it seems to have a mind. Terumi Ming gritted her teeth and said, no, I am a misty person, and I can't let you do evil here. Then, I can only express regret. Kyosuke sighed and stretched out his hand towards him. The water around him turned into a sprawling water dragon, leaping towards several people. Crack. A water dragon bit through the thick tree, causing Terumi Mei to retreat. Kiyomizu was not idle either, stepping on the body of the water dragon, and quickly came to the front of Kagaya Takidori, with the water attribute Chakra Kuna in his hand, leaping high. Shui Dun Waterblade Slash. Kuwu slashed towards Huie Bamboo. Sharp bone spurs grew out of Huie Zutsu's body, which blocked his chest, and a large number of bone spurs continued to grow, abruptly blocking Kyosuke's attack. With a bang, the whole person smashed several big trees, and finally he vomited blood on a tree. Although the attack was blocked, the power was too great to be removed. I don't know how many bones are broken. Fortunately, the Huie clan possesses bone veins. Even if the bones are broken, they can grow new ones at the fastest speed. Bones. It's just that this has to be when he is sober. Melting Dun Solution Bomb. Advertisement fist-sized acid liquids flew in, pushing Kyosuke back. Terumi Ming came to Kagaya Takidori, and found that the other party was unconscious. His heart sank, and he was immediately sent to him. Looking at Shinzuki, he said, your strength has improved faster than I thought. There is no way. To participate in the war, you must prevent yourself from dying here. Shinzuki quickly and said, Ming, I really don't want to kill you, but you. Before the words were finished, a terrible chakra escaped, like a wild beast from the ancient times, full of anger and wildness. This is, turning his head hurriedly, in his own perception, a huge collection of chakras appeared, which was huge and unreasonable. Roar, the roar was thunderous and irritable, full of anger and madness. Turning his head to see, the 3 generations of water shadows who were fighting with Dashimaru originally showed a red chakra coat on his body. 3 tails swayed behind him, and behind him was a huge tortoise shell. Lie on the surface of the water, in front of you. The red and blue yin-yang chakra condenses into a basketball-sized sphere in proportion, and this small sphere can easily destroy a large number of ninjas. Tailed Beast Jade. Psychic Triple Rashomon. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Facing the Tail Beast Jade condensed by 3 generations of water shadows. Dashimaru's dignified psychic appeared 3 huge ghost-faced portals, and Shira opened his mouth and laughed at the door, as if taunting. Boom. The Tail Beast Jade fell on the Triple Rashomon, and the huge energy exploded at the moment of the collision, erasing the surrounding forest and stagnant water. When the smoke and dust dissipated, leaving behind the big snake pill, the Triple Rashomon was destroyed in the explosion just now, but he himself was fine. Looking at the ground with only mud left, Oshimaru smiled and said, is this the power of the 3 tails? 3 generations of Shui Ying, I really underestimated you. You actually sealed the 3 tails in your body and used the power of the tail beast to target we are worthy of being people who can become shadows. A touch of admiration appeared in his eyes. 3 generations of Shui Ying knew that he was the end of the crossbow, so he sealed the 3 tails into his body, turned himself into a 3-tailed human pillar, and used the power of the tail beast to win the war. Whether he wins or loses, it doesn't have much impact on him. If he wins, he will beat Konoha. He will not attack the water country in a short time. He died, and even disappeared with the 3 tails, opening up the way for the future water shadow. After the 3 tails are resurrected, they can be caught. If he loses, it is also dead. At that time, he could not take care of that much. As long as the tail beast is not sealed, it can be reborn even if it is dead. The 3 tails will be reborn in the water country, but it will be a little troublesome to catch it. This is also a test for the future 4 generations of water shadows. Advertisement: the 3 generations of Shuiying are indeed people who can become Shuiying, even at the end of their lives, they must consider their own village. Hearing Oshimaru's words, he couldn't make any answer. The 3-tailed chakra began to erode his mind. He was speechless and could only respond with a roar. After all the oil was exhausted, he couldn't suppress the violent chakra from the tail beast. It was the most primitive. The fierce chakra from the ancestor of the chakra could not be controlled by anyone. At least, he is about to die, no way. Roar, fierce and violent, there is no longer any reason to speak of. 3 tails. Run away. Huh? Did you run away? This is really a trouble. Facing the runaway tail beast, Even Dashimaru didn't dare to take it lightly. 3 generations of water shadow. No, it should be said that the body of the three tails began to swell wildly, and a large number of chakras escaped, which was even more terrifying than just before. Finally, a huge tortoise lay on the ground, and only madness and madness in a one-eyed irritable. In the face of the human being who caught it, it only has hatred. Hang 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 hang. Go to hell, humanity. He raised his head and the tail beast Jade exploded again, directly exploding a mountain. Boom boom boom. After the explosion, the shockwave rushed over like a hurricane, and Kyosuke immediately hid behind the tree. Yeah, Terumi Mei screamed. Before she had time to escape, she was blown away by the shockwave. Really, count me owing you. Kyosuke waved his hand. Several snakes rushed out, tied Terumi Ming's body to prevent her from being blown away, and pulled her into her arms with a strong pull. Terumi was about to struggle, and felt that this was inappropriate, and Kyosuke said loudly, "Don't move, if this continues, we will only be scraped away." Click. As soon as the voice fell, the tree couldn't support it, it still broke, and the two of them were blown into the air. Chapter 120. The three tails the two soared in the air, Shinji said. Ming, your Lord Shuiying is crazy. Shut up. Mizukage-sama chose to sacrifice himself in order to expel you Konoha. It's all because of you. Terumi made toward Kyosuke's face and said, obviously you are the invaders. Obviously you are the first to attack the fire country. Now it's obviously you who are attacking the water country. Oh, don't you make sense? If you don't attack first, Konoha has nothing to do before we fight with you. Don't say anything, get ready, we are about to land. What? Terumi Mei screamed. Kyosuke actually threw her up in the air, and he himself fell quickly due to the reaction force. The whole person exploded on the ground and turned into a pile of flames. The flames quickly condensed and changed back to Kyosuke's appearance. He stretched out his hand, caught Terumi Mei, and said with a smile, should you thank me? Huh, thanks, thank you. Although she knows it shouldn't, she still has to thank Shinji. After all, if he didn't save herself just now, something might happen to herself, at least a few bones would be broken. Coming out of Kyosuke's arms, he blushed, looking at the behemoth that was destroying wildly, his face gradually paled, and he said, Master Shuiying must be stopped, otherwise he will. He will definitely die. Shinzuki said, even if the tail beast doesn't run away, he will not live long. He obviously doesn't need to participate in the war. Terumi Ming bit her lower lip and said softly. This is his own choice. Shinji said, he can obviously die in bed, but he still chose to die in battle. This is his choice. The 3 generations of water shadows used to be all powerful. In the first battle of Ninja World, after the second generation of water shadows and the second generation of earth shadows died together, he took over the position of water shadows. The old man who has experienced 3 battles, fought for a lifetime, let him dying in the hospital bed made him more uncomfortable than death. So he chose to fight. It's just that, I didn't expect that he would choose to become the 3-tailed man Julie. He was already dying, and I wanted to give Konoha a painful blow, but he succeeded. Looking at the fierce beast that was destroying, Kyosuke said. 3 tails began to run wild, attacking indiscriminately, whether it was Konoha or Mist, they would be attacked by him and couldn't stop at all. Oshamaru began to let Konoha's people retreat, and the 3-tailed runaway made the misty ninja headache healed. Konoha hung up on his own and slipped away. Looking at the direction of Dashimaru, Shinji said, I'm leaving, you, be careful. Advertisement, okay. Terumi nodded, looked at the violent Mitsuha and said, Kyosuke, can I call you that? Okay. Goodbye. After speaking, she rushed towards Wuyin without looking back. Tisk. Seeing the girl's back, Kyosuke was stunned, but he still ran towards Dashimaru. Looking at the fairy mask on his face, Dashiwan looked at him and said, is this the fairy mode? Yes, the fairy pattern of Longdadong, in perfect condition. Shinzuki clenched his fist. Retreat? He asked. No, you and I stay here and watch the changes. Dashimaru didn't want to retreat, he wanted to see the power of the tail beast up close. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi, I know. He didn't exit the fairy mode. After all, there was a tail beast not far away. If that guy went crazy, he could run faster. On Wuyin's side, preparations have already begun to suppress and seal the 3 tails. Quick! The ninja who knows how to seal is ready. Yukura-sama, Ghost Shark. Please suppress the 3 tails, suppress the tail beast, and seal the tail beast. Medical class. Medical class. Ready to rescue Shuiying-sama at any time. Shui Wuyue, prepare to use your blood to freeze the 3-tailed water escape after the boundary. The ninja on Wuyin's side began to suppress the 3 tails, and rescue the 3 generations of water shadows, and now only suppressed the 3 tails. Originally thought that the 3rd generation of water shadow could use the power of the 3 tails to destroy Konoha, but who knew that the 3rd generation of water shadow's body could no longer suppress the 3 tails, causing the 3 tails to run wild and attack indiscriminately. Now, they can be said to be in a hurry. Hee, the power of the tail beast can't be messed up. Dashimaru smiled, greedy for the power of the 3 tails. Although Konoha has a 9-tailed tail, it was firmly suppressed by the 9-tailed man Zulikasina. It is impossible to run away, let alone let him take a sample to study. This time is a good opportunity to let him understand the tail. What is special about the beast chakra? Advertisement. The tail beast is a weapon against the village level, and the 3 generations of Shui Yang dared to take it out. In the early generation of Hokage, the tail beasts were distributed to the villages, and the tail beasts were their weapons. Each tail beast was basically sealed in the body of Ren Julie, using them as weapons. When the village is in crisis, the human Julie will be released. Come out and throw into the battlefield. Generally speaking, this is done only when it is compelled to do so, but the fog hasn't reached the point of exhaustion. It's just that the 3 generations of Shui Ying wanted to use the power of the tail beast to annihilate the invading ninja in one fell swoop. Who knew that stealing chickens would not be eclipsed by the rice, and got him in. I saw Sanwei lifted one leg and stomped it on the ground, followed by a huge wave. Water escape as Sifuku Great Falls. Bing done. All Mizuzuki ninjas roared in unison. The hands were sealed, and the cold air hit, the 3 tails attack was instantly frozen, and even the surrounding forest was white. Boom. 3 tails stomped on the ground, the earth roared continuously, the ice cracked, and instantly turned from ice to water again. Sanwei also has the power of ice escape, and can easily turn the ice of Mizumotsu into water. This kind of thing is easy for it. Roar, with a roar again, a large number of chakras condensed, and the dried persimmon ghost shark saw this scene and said, "This level of chakra, the shark muscle can be eaten." The shark muscle made a longing sound, but felt that he couldn't swallow it and then began to sob sadly. Retreat. Katachi Tachibana Yakura shouted loudly to make the ninjas retreat. The tail beast Jade flew straight out, hitting several ninjas who had no time to retreat, and finally hit a mountain and exploded. No, you have to lead it to other places, otherwise, he might end up in the village any time he attacks. Katachi Tachibana Yakura thought so, and said to the dried persimmon ghost shark. Ghost shark, find a way to lead it. Drive the 3 tails, you can't let it attack the village. The dried persimmon ghost shark also knew this, and said, I understand. Looking at the 3 tails, he only found it extremely tricky. For a while, he couldn't think of any particularly good way to distract the 3 tails, it seemed that he could only attack. Chapter 121. Select, Shui Dun the Art of Shark Bullets. The huge shark completely transformed from water broke through the water, biting on the tail of the 3 tails with its mouth open, swaying its body, and forcibly changing the direction of the 3 tails. Boom. The huge body of the 3 tails slammed on the ground, rumbling. Earth escaped the art of Earth Dragon Bullet. A huge stone dragon rose up and hit Sanwei's body. Roar. Mitsui roared again in anger. On its back, the 3 generations of water shadows are slowly appearing. Mitsui is repelling him so that he no longer has contact with him. It must completely break through the seal and no longer be affected by others, the shackles of strength. When the people in Wuyan village saw this, they accelerated their attack speed. If the 3 generations of water shadow were completely excreted from the body, he would never come down. Originally, his body would be exhausted, and his 3 tails would be lost. Then it will definitely die. It is a fact that the beast will die if it loses its tail. Water escape the art of Water Dragon Bomb. Water escape Water Rushing Wave. Water escape Water Dragon Whip. Shui Dun Thousand killing Shui Shang. The water swarmed up, but the 3 tails possessed the strongest defensive power among the tail beasts. They couldn't even break its defense. It was impossible to catch it for a while. The 3 tails swept across behind them, bringing a large amount of dust, and at the same time flying a large group of misty ninjas. Do it yourself. Oshimaru, who watched the excitement, said with a smile. Kyosuke sat on one side, in the fairy mode, the chakra who sensed those people was disappearing, and said, the group of people are almost all dead, only a few were left. This is normal, the tail monster has the most powerful destructive power in the world. Oshimaru smiled and said, if you want to catch the tail monster alone, only the first generation Naruto Senjujuma and Uchiha Madara can do it. Apart from this, no one else can have the power to catch the tail beast by one person. Senjujuma and Uchiha Madara are 2 strong ones. Thinking back to Uchiha Madara's old look, she sighed that time was a pig killing knife. And this guy is obviously too old to walk, can fight, and is still chasing his dreams, it is really. Sure enough, in order to realize your dream, age is not a problem. Advertisement at this moment, he stood up suddenly, glanced at the Dashawan beside him, gritted his teeth and rushed out. Looking at the disciple's back, Dashimaru looked confused, but still followed. Just this minute ago Mitsui's tail fell again, Terumi Mei was pushed away by Ghost Deng Yin Yu, Ghost Deng Zan Yu was smashed into a large pool of water, and Terumi Mei was thrown out by the aftermath. Stabilize his figure in the air, looking at the 3 tails below, his heart sighed, the art of melting and melting monsters. Using the most powerful monster melting technique, a large piece of acid-filled mucus poured on Sanwei's body, making a chicking sound, and its tough outer shell was being corroded by the acid. The sudden pain caused Sanwei to quickly lock onto the painful target. Seeing Terumi Mei who had just landed, he didn't even think about it, and a tail fell straight down. Looking at the enlarged tail in front of him, Terumi Ming smiled bitterly, his life is about to end here. The body, it's light and doesn't hurt at all, wait. Opened his eyes and saw Chingsuk's face, those golden snake eyes looked at her, revealing concern. Are you okay? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. No, it's okay, why are you back? I can't see my friend die in front of my eyes. Kyosuke put her down and said. Terumi Ming grabbed his lapels with lingering fears, and she was just getting close to death, making her legs weak. The girl's soft body pressed against her body, causing Seisuke to cough and say, I advise you to retreat first. At this time, it's best to retreat. Terumi Ming's power has no effect at all here. Kochi Tachibana Yakura and Dried Persimmon Ghost Shark are constraining Sanwei, trying to get the sealing team to seal Sanwei. No, I can't retreat, Terumi Ming gritted her teeth. It's useless for you to go up, it will only cause trouble, just like it was just now. Indeed, Shinzuki-kun may have a little effect if you go. Dashiwan came over and looked at him with a smile. Shinzuki coughed. Oh, Teacher Dashiwan, why are you here? Let me see why you were running over. Well, the eyesight is still okay. A girl with 2 blood inheritance limits. Oshimaru showed his admiring eyes, and looked back and forth at Terumi Mei. Kyosuke can guarantee that the eyes are definitely looking. The look of the guinea pig. Terumi Ming hides behind Kyosuke subconsciously when she sees the bitter cold in the eyes of Oshimaru. She knows that this Oshimaru is one of the 3 ninjas. She is cold-blooded and ruthless, she doesn't blink. She can hardly imagine that Huobao is shameless. Segui's Shinzuki would actually be his disciple, and logically speaking, he should be a disciple of Jiraiya, so that it fits his setting. Ah, sir, I am Konoha's ninja, so I won't go to die. Advertisement? Oh. Then why do you want to save the enemy? Oshimaru said with a sneer. This kind of thing is usually done by the self. His eyes were indifferent, and his eyes were creepy. Kiyomizu smiled and said, she saved my life, this time it is 2 chains. Oh, it turned out to be like this. I didn't expect this misty ninja to save you, Konoha. I have never encountered it in so many years of war. To be honest, he really hasn't encountered it after so many years of fighting. When every ninja in Ninja Village meets, it is impossible to save each other if they are not fighting for life. Even if they were rescued by other villagers, after they regained consciousness, they immediately swung the butcher knife at each other. This is the ninja, in order to kill the enemy by all means, even if the opponent is a child will attack. Terumi Ming said, I have nothing to do with him, this time we are both clear. She also knew that Dashimaru had begun to doubt, and Shinjia had saved herself more than once, and could no longer cause him trouble. Indeed, so you will be the best experiment. Dashiwan spit out a small snake, and the little snake opened his mouth and spit out a sharp sword, exuding an icy sharp edge. Well, it's like a big snake pill. He swallowed the little snake into his belly, threw the Kusunaru sword in front of Kyosuke, and said, Kaisuke-san, kill her and prove to me your loyalty to the village. Ah, teacher, I am loyal to the village. No, I don't believe it. No, you should believe it. Orochimaru, MMP, don't play tricks with me at this time. If you want to go back to the village, you kill the girl in front of you. If you don't want to go back, I will clear the door immediately. Seeing that Kusunaru sword, Kyosuke fell silent. Terumi Ming smiled bitterly, looking like he couldn't escape. Chapter 122. Burst of arrogance. A well-knotted hand held the hilt of the Kusunaru sword, and the sharp body of the sword resounded with a clear sword sound. Speaking of Kusunaru's sword, he smiled and said, this is not like you. For the interest of the village, I will do anything, Dashimaru said with a smile. That's why I don't look like you, Shinzuki said. The Oshimaru teacher I know is not someone who can give everything for the village, but your first disciple. The pursuit of truth is more letting go than the village's interests. You care, you won't kill me, let alone such precious research materials as Ming. Dashi Wan had no will to fire in his heart. In his heart, the truth was far more attractive than the village's interests. He wouldn't do anything to himself before he figured out his physique, although there were also guys who would knock himself out, and then start to dissect himself. Terumi Ming is estimated to be suspended. You're right, I can assume that I didn't see this thing, Kyosuke-kun. I need some samples of 3 tails. Before that, I will protect your friends. He didn't want to go up to deliver food, so let Shinjia go. In the elemental plus fairy mode, it is appropriate to take something from Sanwei. Teacher Oshimaru, you are thinking of me as a coolie. Kyosuke smiled wryly. You don't need to go. Oshimaru's eyes swept across Terumi Mei, and Kyosuke said, okay, I'll go. Don't mess around, I'll use the sword. Carrying the Kusunaru sword, he rushed directly to the 3 tails who were fighting with the sacred Tachibana Yakura and the dried persimmon ghost shark. Kyosuke slashed the carapace of Sanwei with a sword, clinked, and cut a crack. It is indeed a sword that can hurt even the body of the King Kong of the Ape Demon, and the carapace of the 3 tails can also hurt a little. But it didn't hurt its flesh and blood. Isn't it Mr. Asakawa of Konoha? Said the dried persimmon ghost shark carrying shark muscle. Indeed, what is he here for? Katachi Tachibana frowned, very puzzled. After all, this is their private matter. You are too weak, I can't stand it, and I want to see my current strength, Fire Fist. A fire fist hit Sanwei's forehead. The fiery flames and huge flame fists made even Mitsuha uncomfortable. After all, with the increase of Shanshu Chakra, the power of Kyosuke Fire Fist was already comparable to Ace's Fire Fist. Advertisement roar. Sanwei was in pain, and the tail carried a strong wind towards Kyosuke on his body. Kyosuke waved his arm, and the flame instantly expanded into a palm, grabbing the tail of the 3 tails. With the other hand, he grabbed the Kusunaru sword, thrust it into the carapace of the 3 tails, and continued to inject the chakra, Sora no Tai sword. The Kusunaru sword that was injected by chakra stretched instantly, stepping on the hilt of the sword with 1 foot, causing it to grow continuously in Sanwei's body until it stabbed its body to a cold heart. Roar. The pain of the body being penetrated made Sanwei couldn't help roaring, getting more and more irritable, and chakra broke out and almost lifted Kyosuke on his back. Tailed beasts are really hard to deal with. What kind of monster was Senju Juma when he was young? At the beginning, he grabbed 9 tails like a chicken and said that its power is terrible. Whose power is it terrible? The burning pain from the tail caused the 3 tails to roar again, and the other 2 tails swept together. This time, Kyosuke and the sword were pushed back together. One-eyed Kyosuke, who held the sword in front of him, was furious. A little thing hurts itself. Humans go to die. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. 1 foot fell, and a shadow enveloped Shinsuke's head. He hurriedly raised 2 flames from behind and took it with his palms. Damn, this feeling is really bad, it's so heavy. Even with the blessing of Shanshu Chakra, it is quite difficult to hold the foot of the 3 tails. Cianfa inorganic reincarnation. The Shanshu Chakra injected into the earth, countless spikes rose up, withstood the stomach of the 3 tails, and forced it up abruptly. Cianfa the merciless sun. 2 big flame hands were raised flat, and above them, a fireball like the sun was forming, hot, huge, not to look directly at it. Flames raised the sun, with big hands, dropped it directly, and smashed it on Sanwei's body. And, second paragraph. Burst of arrogance. A virtual grip with one hand, followed by explosion. Boom, advertisement. The explosion was deafening, fierce and violent, and the heat wave rolled in. The leaves of the surrounding trees instantly turned yellow, and a large amount of water evaporated, causing the water vapor to soak through the body, making it very uncomfortable for clothes to be attached to the body. It's terrible. Destructive power. Katachi Tachibana Yakura and dried persimmon ghost shark ran out of the ground, and they were shocked when they saw that the surrounding area was turned into a scorched earth. This kind of destructive power is not something ordinary people can do. Is this really something a teenage Shangren can do? Who knows? What about Sanwei? There, following the direction pointed by Kochi Tachibana Yakura, Sanwei was found lying on the ground, his body scorched, not knowing whether it was alive or dead. Where is Lord Shuiying? Yeah, where's Shui Ying-sama? In the explosion just now, the 3 generations of water shadows exposed outside of Sanwei may have been. Kyosuke's body reorganized, and on the ground he picked up the black and extremely hot Kusanagi sword, and walked towards the 3 tails. Wait, what are you going to do? Katachi Tachibana Yakura ran to ask. You take care of me. Kyosuke jumped over, slashing a barb on Sanwei's face together. The psychic sent out a big snake and swallowed it, looking at the 2 people of Kochi Tachibana Yakura and the dried persimmon ghost shark and said, Okay, the rest is up to your own, although I don't know if this guy is dead or not. Why help us? What and why? No why, just let you see my abilities, and carefully weigh the price of being an enemy of Konoha. Are you threatening us? If you think so, it's a threat. Shinsuke glanced at him, and said unhurriedly, If you are an enemy of Konoha, you have not gained any benefits. I can sneak into the mist without knowing it. You can't help me, just attack, I can release it 3 more times. If you feel that there are so many places where the fog is hidden, you can continue to fight Konoha. Mr. Asakawa is really merciless, Yakura-sama, what do you say? The dried persimmon ghost shark stood by the sacred Tachibana Yakura holding the shark muscle, waiting for his answer. Katachi Tachibana Yakura was silent for a while, looked at Kyosuke, and said, Very well, you are fine. Asakawa Kyosuke, Konoha has you, and the war can't be lost. A humanoid monster with a destructive power comparable to the tail beast, enough to make Konoha win. This guy is not as good as the tail beast in terms of battery life. Katachi Tachibana Yakura is a wise man, knowing what to do. Wuyin has already lost. Chapter 123. Correction. After solving the 3 tails, Kyosuke left, leaving behind the sacred Tachibana Yakura and the dried persimmon ghost shark. Kochi Tachibana Yakura looked at Sanwei, who was about to ripen, and said, Ghost shark, we will transport Sanwei back, and then I will seal it into my body. I will become Renjuli. The dried persimmon ghost froze for a moment and advised, Master Yakura, I personally think it's better not to. The power of Mizuo is really strong, even if it's not suppressed by Mizukage, it's not good for you. I know, but someone must become a human pillar power. Katachi Tachibana Yakura said. With Kyosuke Asakawa, Konoha will not lose. We must master the power as fast as possible. The power of the tail beast is the most powerful. It will be available soon, and the village must be reformed. You mean? Yes, I want to be a water shadow, a ghost shark, and help me. Katachi Tachibana Yakura stretched out his hand to the dried persimmon ghost shark. The dried persimmon ghost shark lowered its muscles, knelt down on one knee, and said with a smile. If you wish, the ninja sword 7 of the dried persimmon ghost shark is willing to open up a path for you. Ghost, please advise. Shinsuke returned to Oshimaru and saw that his eyes were full of scorching hotness. He was greedy by the immortal mode, and said, Teacher Oshimaru, let Ming go back. Dashiwan licked her lips with her tongue, and said with a smile, Is this the power of Shienju? It is a terrifying power. Kyosuke-san, with Shienju, your strength has improved more than that. You are still a child now, your strength can grow in the future, I look forward to that moment very much. He looked at Terumi Ming and said, If you like this little girl, it's not impossible to bring it to Konoha, just put it in the basement. Kiyomizu glanced at Terumi Ming, and then at Oshimaru. He believed that what Oshimaru said was definitely not the same as what he was thinking. The basement, it feels like thinking about it. But just thinking about it, and said, Forget it, let her go back, Ming, we are cleared. Yeah. Terumi Ming's face was complicated, and Kyosuke's power had surpassed her imagination, reaching a point beyond her reach, which made people feel unwilling. She said, Goodbye, Shinjia. I hope that the next meeting will not be on the battlefield. After speaking, she turned and left. Advertisement. Kyosuke shrugged, and also chose to leave. Dashimaru said, Okay, we should also leave. If you put Sanwei like that, Wuyin won't go to war with Konoha anymore. With regard to the destruction that Kyosuke had just caused, the battle between Konoha and Wuyin could be ended. That power is enough to make the Fog Hidden jealous. That level of attack can be comparable to the Shoulder Tail Beast. The key is that this guy is not a human pillar power, has the freedom and ultra-high level of combat power. The Fog Hidden here must be weighed. Can you no longer suffering an attack from Kyosuke? This time he won't help them kill the Raging Tail Beast. In other words, am I considered to have killed 3 generations of Shui Ying? Shinzuki suddenly remembered this question. Dashimaru said, forget it, I will write down the results of this battle in the report. Shinzuki-san, you are enough to run for the position of Hokage by ending the war in the mist. Just relying on your military merits in the Sand Hidden and Fog Hidden wars, especially the great work of repelling the 3 tails and indirectly killing the 3 generations of Water Shadows, so that he can have the qualifications to run for Naruto. Although the 3 generations of Shuiying were dying and his body was dying, but it was also Shuiying, bearing the name of Shadow. It represented a powerful force, and being able to kill him also proved Kyosuke's strength. In addition, he directly attacked him with an attack. The Tail Beast, which represents the natural disaster, was not able to fight back, which also proved his power. Tailed beasts are more difficult to deal with than humans. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. The 3 generations of Shui Ying were also miserable, not to mention that they did not achieve their goals, and they made Shinzuki a wedding dress, which became a stepping stone to his fame in the world of ninja. Kyosuke laughed and said, I don't want to run for Hokage or something, but this time I will definitely have a lot of rewards. He rubbed his hands and followed behind Dashawan. There is nothing good about Hokage's position. If he becomes a 4th generation Hokage, he might sit in the office all day and approve documents. It is not a special thing and he can't leave the village at all. It is tantamount to being imprisoned in the village in disguise. The day he hoped. Wuyin is estimated to be unable to fight anymore, but he will continue to resist. Just leave some people here. I will sit here. Chinjia, you can go back, take the team and report back. Da Shiwan said. Okay, teacher. Back at the camp, he found that Hong was bandaging the wound on Shishui, and the bandage place was his left eye. Suddenly he had a bad feeling and asked, what's going on? Advertisement Jishui told the truth, saying, I did not participate in the war, but was sent on a patrol mission. I found a group of mists preparing to attack the camp. They used illusions to repel them, but I was attacked by a dark guy. His left eye was poached away. Shinsuke's heart sank and asked, dark guy? Yes, and the body is like liquid. It suddenly appeared, I didn't feel it at all. The sudden attack caught him off guard, his left eye was poached away, and he had to show up to fight back the remaining mist. It's dark and liquid, I know who it is, Jishui, come with me. Good senior. Hong wrapped Shishui, and Shinzuki brought Shishui to a sparsely populated place, made sure there was no one around, and solemnly asked, Shishui, your riding wheel eyes. Has it evolved into a kaleidoscope riding wheel eyes? Shishui was shocked, and told the truth, nodded, and said, yes, it was activated when his father died in battle a year ago. The ability is a super high-level illusion. Zhuanyan opened his eyes because of the death of his mother, and Kaleidoscope opened his eyes because of his father's death in battle. If he could, he would not want these eyes at all. How did the senior know? Do you know the identity of the person who attacked me? Well, I know, the guy who attacked you is called Highway, a filial son. I'm afraid to take your eyes away to control an idiot. Lin is protected in Konoha Hospital, it is already difficult to blacken the soil. Kakashi and Watergate can't kill, Lin can't take it away, so I want to make the soil obedient, and the other gods of Shishui are the best way. Use other gods to control Xandu and modify his memory from the subconscious mind to make him think that Lin is dead. Then, a Xandu who is disappointed in the world and wants to subvert the world appeared. This damn historical correction. Having a headache, I asked, can you relieve your ability? Only a kaleidoscope can deal with a kaleidoscope, and other gods must be used against other gods. Chapter 124. Non-existent memory increased. Can you disarm yourself? Senior, what do you mean? Use your kaleidoscope to cast the illusion. Can you use the remaining kaleidoscope to release it? Shinjia asked. Jishui said, yes, but the premise is that I have to look at each other. After all, it is my own kaleidoscope. I am afraid that there is no shortcoming in terms of illusion. Kyosuke breathed a sigh of relief when he received Shishui's conscientious reply. The key is how to find the idiot with soil now. Jishui asked. Senior, someone wants to use my kaleidoscope to control a person to do some evil things. I'm afraid it is, Shisui. This matter will trouble you in your stomach. I will find a way to deal with it. Also, don't show your kaleidoscope to the senior Konoha. They are the disciples of the 2nd generation of Hokage. To the Uchiha clan very jealous, your awakening kaleidoscope riding round eyes will make them sleepless and sleepless. The high level of the village was afraid of the power of the Uchiha clan, because they were the disciples of the 2nd generation of Naruto. They knew how powerful and terrible Uchiha Madara was. They knew about the battle that year, even if it was still small, but Madara took the 9 tails to kill. The Shura's posture when returning to Konoha was frightening and left an indelible impression in their hearts. Coupled with the education of the 2nd generation of Hokage, they have always remained vigilant against the Uchiha clan. But my ancestors in Hokage-sama are comrades in arms. Although the young Shisui is very mature, some places still maintain the child's innocence. Kyosuke sneered, breaking his innocence, and said, you mean Uchiha Kyo, he was only in his 20s when he died. Has your father been kindly treated and reused, didn't he? Master Naruto is now in his 50s or 60s. Your ancestors have also been dead for decades. Taking care of you is also because of this incense. Your ability is too dangerous, especially since there is a tailed beast in the village, then, hey. In order to protect the village, whether it is a child brother or a comrade in arms, as long as Konoha is threatened, everything will not be let go. How terrible the power of the kaleidoscope riding round eyes is known to the high-level villagers. It is the power that can control the tail beast. If Shishui exposes his kaleidoscope riding round eyes and ability, then Danzo will be the first to come to him. I'm afraid it will be Sarutobi Rishan. After listening to Qingji's words, Shishui felt cold all over his body and felt that his whole body was not good. Muttered. No. Yes, don't underestimate the old guys in the village, Shishui. Hide your own abilities. You can be a genius, but you definitely can't be a genius who has awakened a kaleidoscope and riding round eyes. Qingji Dao patted Shishui on the shoulder. Shishui nodded complicatedly and said, I see, Senior Kyosuke. Advertisement wanting to understand the truth, Shisui knew what Shinzuki meant, and found it extremely troublesome. It seemed that he should never expose his kaleidoscope to the top of the village. Otherwise, something bad would definitely happen. He asked, Senior Kyosuke, that guy named Heizi, who took my eyes away, is he trying to control whom? You'll know from now on, Shishui. Before that, you must protect yourself and be careful of Danzo. I know. Well, go back. At the same time, somewhere in the country of grass. Uchiha Madara held a sickle tightly in his dry branches and sat on a rock, lying in a coma in front of him. His hands and feet were patched with soil. A cloud of pitch-black liquid came out of the soil and adhered to Baiju's body, turning into a different kind of half-black and half-white, and said in a hoarse voice, Mada, Uchiha Shisui's kaleidoscope riding wheel eyes have been taken by me, but that kid was too difficult to deal with. I only got one. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Which eye? Left eye. Well. Kurojutsu opened his hand and placed a bloody riding wheel on it quietly. Uchiha Madara grabbed it and stuffed it into the hollow socket of his left eye. He immediately healed his eye with medical ninjutsu and connected it. Retina. The left eye moved, and he immediately controlled it, opened his eyes, and a blood-red Sangu Jade riding wheel appeared. The three Go Jades swiftly rotate round the pupil, and finally connected together, forming a kaleidoscope of riding wheels like a windmill. Nice ability, but unfortunately there is a time limit, but it is not a problem to control the soil. With that said, he made a seal on his hand, don't be a god. Don't be a god, the strongest illusion. Under the display, the originally asleep belt soil began to frown, cold sweat appeared on his forehead, and a Baiju appeared, disguised as Lin. No, it should be said that it was very similar to Lin, with a bloody appearance on his chest. Big hole, lying beside the soil. Advertisement, Lin. Uchiha suddenly opened his eyes, got up, and saw Uchiha Madara and Kurozutsu, and Lin next to him. He hugged Baiju, who was very similar to Lin, and burst into tears. The Ergoyu riding wheel eyes in his eyes were spinning rapidly, forming a kaleidoscope of riding wheel eyes. Lin's corpse passed through his body at once and fell to the ground. Lin. He yelled, a violent chakra burst out of his body. Uchiha Madara caught him, his eyes widened, and he directly used illusion to make Moto lose consciousness. Well, I have changed the image of Rin Nohara, and the memory has been re-edited. The next step is the process of teaching. Use the other gods to brainwash the soil to change the appearance of Lin in his memory and replace it with another person, and then add the scene of Kakashi and Kyosuke teaming up to kill Lin, so that the soil becomes a hatred of Konoha and hate people of the world. In short, the memory of non-existence has increased. Uchiha Madara laughed, proud of his wit. Heiju smiled, proud of his wit. At the same moment, when he returned to Konoha camp, Kakashi, who was about to go to eat, suddenly felt an extremely powerful chakra burst out of his left eye, rushing into his head, unable to withstand this powerful force, and fainted. Passed over and fell to the ground. It was picked up by Konoha ninja passing by and sent to the medical unit. Hearing the news that Kakashi was in a coma, Kyosuke came with asthma and Hong. Kyosuke frowned and asked the medical ninja who was being treated, Doctor, how is it? Is chakra overconsumption? The medical ninja shook his head and said, No, his chakra is not too much, but he has not yet reached the point where he can coma. We are also looking for the specific situation, but don't worry, there is no major problem, and you will wake up after a while. I know, I will trouble you to take care of it. Knowing that Kakashi was okay, they went out and went to Oshimaru to accept the task. Konoha is about to retreat, and the battle with Wuyin is about to end. Next, Kyosuke and the others will also return to Konoha. Chapter 125. The meaning of life. The battle between Konoha and Wuyin can basically be said to be settled. Basically there are only some small frictions. Each retreated to the borderline, and the war was basically over. Kochi Tachibana Yakura has become a water shadow for the 4th generation, and the water country is closed again, not in contact with the outside world, focusing on the internal problems of the village, and again starting to kill itself. Kiyasuke's record of overturning the 3 tails by himself was spread, and his terrible strength proved Konoha's inviolability. That battle was called the Battle of the 3 Tails, and the Battle of the Shinsubi Bridge, in which Mizumon participated, ended the 3rd Ninja War, the key battle. Now the only one fighting Konoha is Yinyan village in the Thunder Country. Konoha at the end of 47, the 3rd Ninja War basically ended. Under the orders of the 3 generations of Naruto, a large number of Konoha ninjas evacuated from the front line. Only a small part of them remained at the border to prevent enemy attacks. Most of the rest returned to Konoha. The battlefield shifted to the negotiating table, first of all the negotiations between Konoha and Sane. Sha Yin recognized as a little brother and didn't dare to mess around again. As for the land of the country, Konoha and Yanyan village had a frank exchange, fully exchanged views, and enhanced mutual understanding. The talks were beneficial, and each had reservations. The translation means that they said their own things, and they didn't talk about anything. Knowing that the opposite party was farting, they almost started fighting. Anyway, they didn't agree with the other party's terms. However, Yanyan village will not last long. Yanyan village is still fighting with them. 3 generations of Raikage were killed by Yanyan village. The next 4 generations of Raikage IK will not give up, and the 3rd generation of Raikage will lose a lot in the battle. In the Battle of Shinmukyo Bridge, the Watergate also killed a lot of ninjas from Iwakura. It is no good to continue stalemate with Konoha now. After a long time, they will naturally agree to Konoha's condition. As for Yanyan village, a group of reckless men, these guys are still fighting to the end with Yanyan village. However, they will not fight for too long. Nationals of various countries are tired of wars, because the economic situation in the country has changed, and the population has dropped a lot. In addition, because of the war, a lot of land has been destroyed, and many farmers have lost a lot of land. The inability to grow food is also a burden to the country. Over time, the citizens of the land and the land of thunder will demand an end to the war. At that time, even if Yanyan village and Yanyan village still wanted to fight, the war could not start. Konoha's cemetery advertisement: many dead ninjas will be buried here, in front of the huge statue of Wolf Fire. Numerous Konoha ninjas gathered here, wearing black mourning clothes, and each bowed their heads to mourn the dead in the war. Kyosuke stood next to Yuhi Mahone, who hadn't appeared for a long time, and was very close to the Uchiha clan on one side. Hearing their clansmen suggested to the patriarch Uchiha Tomotaki to take back the eyes that belonged to the soil, he was reprimanded by Uchiha Tomotaki and retreated. Kyosuke sneered, if they dared to do something, they dared to destroy the clan. Whether he died with the soil or not, his eyes are Kakashi's, and no one can take it back. After a while, the crowd dispersed, and Kyosuke came to Oshimaru standing in front of the tombstone and glanced at the tombstone in front of him with a name written on it, Rose Tree. Tsunade's younger brother, the grandson of the original Hokage, died, in a battle. At this time, Oshimaru said, Kazuki-san, if death is meaningful, then there is only a time when it can be used. At this time, a black-haired boy came over, listened to him, and asked, what is the meaning of life? Dashimaru glanced at him and said, it makes no sense. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. If life is meaningful, it only exists when life is eternal. After speaking, he turned and left. Life has no meaning? The boy thoughtfully. Kyosuke looked at him and asked, are you from the Uchiha clan? Yes, my name is Uchiha Itachi. Oh, Mr. Fuyu's son? Looking at the future god of Itachi, Kyosuke asked, why do you want to understand the meaning of life? Itachi said, my father took me to the battlefield. I don't understand why they want to fight. Life will fight and life will die. Is the meaning of life meaningless? There was confusion in his eyes. This too mature child considered topics that should not be considered at this age. No, it can't be said that it is meaningless. Teacher Oshimaru's values and worldview are different from those of our normal people. You don't need to refer to what he said. Kyosuke took Itachi out of the cemetery and said as he walked, a king once said that life is an end, and life is a journey of accumulated pain, but it is by no means a story of death and severance. Advertisement, eternity is definitely not the meaning of life. Then what is the meaning of life? I don't know. Shinzuki shook his head. But it's definitely not meaningless. He looked at Itachi. It's too early for your age to consider these. He seemed to be answering Itachi, and he seemed to be talking to himself. No one is willing to die. Eternal life is also a kind of fear of death. People will have relationships and fetters, and they will get together. As a result, families are formed, tribes, villages, towns, countries, etc. are formed. Life will be born, life will die, life will fight, but life will also be saved. This is a complicated philosophical question. I can't answer it accurately. You need to understand it yourself. Perhaps, at the last moment of your life, you will understand the meaning of life, but don't think about committing suicide. Age group, even if you die, you won't understand it. Knocked Itachi on the head and said, let's go, I'll invite you to dinner, what do you want to eat? 3 colored dumplings. Itachi thought for a while and said, I don't know if there is any at this time. The teenagers and boys walked one after the other on Konoha Street and came to the front of the Sansa Tuanzi shop. Because the village was holding a memorial service, there were no guests, so they bought a lot. Drinking tea and eating dumplings, Itachi asked, Mr. Kyosuke, why do you say that Lord Dashawan thinks differently from ours? Well, he is special. You will know about it later. He picked his teeth with a pick after eating, and said, without the style of a predecessor, speaking of which, you are a rare good-tempered person in the Uchiha clan, not like that. Those guys. Itachi also knew that the personality of the people in the village was not pleasing, and said with a wry smile, they're just not good at communicating with people. No, their eyes are on their foreheads. Kyosuke said, indulging in the glory of the family, sooner or later they will eat their own fruits. Itachi was silent. Although he was young, he could understand the warning in Shinji's words, but he couldn't do anything about those people. Even his father was in compromise. The relationship between the Uchiha clan and the village has not been very good.